Oh no! Oh no, mate! That's why. That's why I've cropped it to about here to this week.
But technically, they ain't bust.
Mate.
They ain't bust just yet.
That's terrible.
I said it to
If
them.
your socks look like that, you need new socks.
My daughter was like, "Dad, we need to get you new socks." I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
it's
but they ain't got
embarrassing.
holes in."
No, it's embarrassing. It's terrible behaviour.
That's amazing.
She's right, Dad. You need to get
You
new
gotta
socks.
thrown away the Rick and Morty techers. I was like,
I mean, look, at the end of the day, new socks aren't too expensive.
you know what the hilarious thing is? I've got 10 brand new pairs of black socks. Like I open
Yeah,
the
but
drawer,
you
they're
like
right there.
your colourful, exciting
I
socks.
need to
You
get
don't
some
like your
colourful ones.
boring black
I
socks.
was on like Shein and Amazon scrolling through looking for some socks. I was like, I don't know, they're just not me. So I don't know if it's one of them things like, hey, just go out and get me some socks, because I didn't pick these socks. They just thought of me when they was out.
Yeah,
so I think maybe the ladies need to go out and like get me some socks.
It's just funny.
So-
And you, like, in many ways, you and I are very similar. And in many other ways, you and I are really... So years ago, I went to watch this comedian, right?
Yeah.
And he made this brilliant point about the socks. We've got melon today, by the way.
Oh.
And it is exquisite as
What's
well.
good, Chris?
I didn't think it was going to be that good. I thought, when I got it, I was like, I don't think it's going to be ripe enough. Turns out, it's really good.
Oh, the melon.
So anyway, this comedian, he made this point about socks, and he said, I worked out how much life I was wasting for like pairing up my socks once I did my washing.
Yeah.
He said, so I just chucked out all my socks, and I just bought like 20 pairs of white socks, just the same sock. And he said, no, I don't pair them, I just chuck them all into one drawer, because I know they were going to be a pair. Because they're 20... And I was like, that's me all over, just save the
So
bullshit.
smart.
And then over the years, I've got another sock, and then my mum's given me some socks, and then I got given some socks at a festival. Do you know, it's like, oh, do you want some free socks? I'm, like, well, I'm not going to turn down free socks, obviously.
Festival socks.
And so there's all these things, and now and my drawers all messed up again, and I'm wasting time folding bloody socks up.
How do we get back here?
But it is one of those things that it's like, yeah, you can kind of like that Steve Jobs thing of I've decided what I'm wearing. Like, oh, today, no, just full stop.
That's it.
I've decided what I'm eating forever. I've decided that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it frees up a lot of brain space.
It really does, especially if you're a person, like you say, who's creative. Once you get 2 or 3 options, mate, that stuff, it's like a hydra. You go, oh, maybe I can have that. Oh, maybe I can have that. And then you get 2 more heads shoot out, and now you've got a 50-headed hydra out of one decision that needed to be made. Just like, cut the head off the fucker.
This is where you're bad, and I've gotten better. So you'll procrastinate because you've got so many ideas. You don't know which one to stick at and follow through. Because you don't want to not do the others, because they're all fucking amazing. This is the conversation we had after the camera switched off last week. Was about saying no to it was Warren Buffett's pick your 25 top things in your life. Pick your 25 priorities, things like, this is the shit. I'm going to live my life for these 25 things. And then you take the top 5 and you go, right, these are my priorities. I'm going to focus my time and effort on these. This is what I'm, looking out for. And then the next 20, you actively avoid, and that's the bit that shocked you. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say, look, once you crack out one, bring another one in. He was like, no, avoid them at all costs,
Like
because
the
they
plague,
are
mate.
sapping from your vision.
They're going to detract.
So it's the narrowing. For me, it's definitely like all of these are potential realities. They're not just ideas, they're potential realities that can be brought in through time and effort. But I think, is it called the paradox of choice? I'm not sure, but it's essentially that, isn't it? Like, you've got so many choices of so many things.
Analysis paralysis is another nice little way of putting it.
And then you end up doing absolutely fuck all.
For me in the studio, you can see what I've done. A lot of it is just black and white, mostly black actually, because a lot of studio bits you want it black. Especially like here, you can hide wires and bits and bobs like that. So again, you go to the theatre, the pit is all black, everyone's wearing black because it's dark. So they've got a little light so they can see what they're doing, but you don't want to be detracted. Well, what's going on down there?
It's just nice.
So here I've got that wall which is colour.
Yeah.
And I've got little bits of colour splashed around. That's my creative.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, and this is what I used to teach.
It's like a little walled garden, so
It's like, well, you kind of go, look, you've got this little bit to fuck around with. You haven't got all of this, because all of this is too much. You go, oh, I can't, every tiny little... No. That's your little bit there.
Yeah.
You all of this, that's standard. That is your little bit to make yours, let's say. Yeah. And I think, so when I used to teach, it's a great way of doing it. If you overwhelm someone and say, right now, write your whole news, like, what the, that's a word, no, that's too much. You go, right, I've written 99% of it.
Yep.
You just got to fill in this blank here with whatever you like right now. Fill it in pencil, you can rub it out and change it another day. And then, you progress on, you go, cool, right now this time, rather than giving you a chunk of a bar, I've given you a whole bar. And then you go, right now, this little bit here, I've given you the setup, right? But you need to bring it home with these final 4 bars, what we're going with. And that's how you get people progressing.
100%. I always make the bar too high. I want it all perfect. I want it this way. I want it that way. And if that's not good, I can't just deliver it as it is. It has to be tweaked till I feel like it's, I don't want to say perfect, but essentially perfect.
As close to...
And then end up not doing nothing.
I was just about to say, and then it never gets done.
Yeah, and this is the perfect thing about what we did with this. Like you said to me, hey, let's just send it out there. Just whack it out there. Like, what's going to happen? You know, you're not going to get chased around the street because someone didn't like your video. Like, just get it out there.
You might. let's not rule it out. I mean,
I think your opinions are shit.
To be fair, there are people out there who have gotten so big, and that probably they have had people banging on their doors. And it's like, what was it, that Eddie Hall? He had people stalking him and that.
Oh, did he?
So, why would you? He's one of the like.
Why are you stalking Eddie Hall for?
One of the strongest men in the world to now going into MMA and you're gonna piss that guy off. No,
it's not a smart move unless you've got a camera and you're trying to get a catch a lawsuit.
They were fans,
maybe.
But then they were like pissing him off, and you go, I mean, in a way, like it's kind of like seeing a caged gorilla at the zoo in the sense that, wow,
he's a spectacle. He's a spectacle.
Like, and I'm kind of amazed, and to have this attention on me. You know, in that sense, you'd be kind of scared, but also kind of fascinated to see what he could. You know, is he going to flip the car with us in it?
Yeah, he actually literally could flip the car with you in it.
And you kind of so in that sort of sense, it is. You know, I'm sure people have had people in the real world because of a bad video. Yeah. I think right now we've got like 5 views. I think we'll be alright.
On the subject of Eddie Hall, he's a great example of someone balancing the opposites. He's got not every reason. But he's got every excuse to act like an arsehole and a bully. And
he acts the clown, actually.
And he does the exact opposite. He does like lots of self-deprecation and jokey stuff. And it makes him so much more likeable.
I was just about to say, you would be so intimidating wherever you went. You would have to play the fool and play yourself down in that way. I think he's a lot smarter than he lets on as well.
I agree.
I think to get to world-class status in anything, you have to be a lot smarter than your average Joes and Janes. And so I think for him to get to where he's got to and then play the fool is kind of to play down the intimidation factor of his presence. Yeah. Because while on camera, you might go, oh, yeah, no, he just... No, mate, in real life, he's a giant. And he could just go and squash you.
Huge. The size of this guy is crazy. The fact that
I think he does that very, very well.
He does really well at balancing the
opposites. He's transitioned from a very, very serious sportsman. You know, sort of to the point where he's lifting and blood's like trickling down his face and stuff, to actually then going and being dynamic as a sportsman. Yep. And he's doing his MMA stuff and that, but he's also just, I mean, I don't know whether you know this guy, Magnus, I'm going to say Mitbo, but I might be...
I'm thinking of chess.
No, Magnus Mitbo, he's a climber and he does lots of various different things, so he'll do like the Navy SEAL tests. So again, he's trying to be a balanced guy. He's trying to be one of these guys, like, not just a single discipline guy. Yeah. And so he's done videos of Eddie Hall before, and obviously they all kind of do the cross-pollination stuff on YouTube as well now, which is kind of cool. But you say so he's balanced. What do you see then when you look at someone like him?
I just see someone who, like you say, has got all the accolades in one area for doing a specific type of thing. You've got every reason to stay at the top and not change rooms. Like changing from, hey, if you're a world-class Thai boxer and you're going to cross over to boxing, hey, the sport's different. The science of boxing is very different from, let's say, Thai boxing or kickboxing. However, the room you enter to go through a 12-round professional fight is the same room. It's the same room psychologically. To go from being a competitive strongman to making people laugh in TikTok videos out of self-deprecation, very different room. Completely different room. He's going into the Joker, the trickster. He's poking holes in his own.
Which is what room?
Magician room, yeah.
So that's where he has to be smart.
100%.
And that's where that same guy is.
He's aware of the humour, and he's also he's with the magician and the lover. That's what's so balancing, because he's aware of his humour and the effect that what he's doing is having on other people, which is joy, laughter. Right. They're laughing at it. Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, so stand-up comedian.
So he's able to connect with more people than he did when he did World's Strongest Man.
Way more.
He uses the same physical strength and presence in the sense, but it's doing things to connect with people in different ways.
100%.
There's probably he's a father as well, right? He's
a dad. Yeah. He's a really good character. He's a great character, and like that's what brings the generativity in. If you see a giant steamroller of a guy with a mean mug on him, he's not generative. If he's intimidating to people, then he's taking away energy. He's shrinking people. When he enters the room, people shrink down. Whereas if people love you and respect you, when you enter the room, they get bigger. For me, that's an indicator.
This is actually
to
a
me.
thing I had years ago. Like, real strength doesn't make people feel weaker when it's around. It makes you feel stronger that it's around.
Yes, that's the
And
right
so
type
having
of strength.
someone like him, it's like, because he's on my side.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a good guy. I'm not starting shit. He's a good guy. He's not starting shit. He's on my side.
And that's what it is. If
He wants peace. I want peace. Great.
And the more powerful you are as a person, the more you need to pay attention to the effect that you have on other people if you're not able to enter those different rooms. If you get a feed off of making other people feel small, then you've got to check yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're not as great as you think you are.
So that was when I was saying about that fight that I was talking about last week.
Yeah.
That dickhead kid when he punched that guy.
Oh,
the
yeah.
innocent guy. And, I remember, funny enough, I watched it back and I went, there's about 20 of us. There wasn't. There was about 10.
Okay.
But there was another incident where there was about 20. And it's funny when people tell stories and they like inflate it.
Yeah. Because it might feel like 20.
Different things at the time as well. I was thinking it reminded me of that one. Then I watched it back. I was like, it is funny how. And some people they'll inflate, and then the next time they tell it'll be 50, and the next time they tell it'll be 100. And I watched it back. I was like, nah, man, that was inaccurate. There was no more than 10 of you.
There was 1,000 of us outside the shops.
Yeah. And just shit like that. It makes me laugh because he was going around trying to make people feel small to make himself feel bigger. And it's it's only going to last so long, isn't it? It doesn't matter how big you are.
Yeah.
You're going to encounter numbers at that point.
Yeah. Two things are going to happen. Well, number one, for starters, without a shadow of a doubt, I call it crown stealing. So this is my term I use. When you steal somebody else's crown, the crown that you get, the sense of awesomeness that you get from taking that person's crown, from taking their self-esteem with intimidation, with pulling the rug from under them and pointing and laughing, that crown is a replica. It's not a real, true crown because it's a crown that's external to yourself that you took off of somebody else. You gain that crown out of someone else's suffering. Right. So it's not a real crown. The real crown is the sense from within, the one that you get from within. What happens with bullies and intimidators is they go around collecting those crowns, and then after 5 minutes, once the situation's gone, the crown's gone. And so the only way to bring it back now is to go and tell my mates about how I just bullied my man. I terrored him and this and that. I got my crown for a couple of minutes and then back again. You can only do that for so long until you run into someone who's going to really flatline you. But like you say, he might catch you with three of his friends. It's a problem now. If he's willing, it's a problem now. Or you might pick on the wrong guy who's maybe smaller than you but has a much bigger dragon inside him. Maybe he's on his final straw. Maybe you're the straw that breaks the camel's back. And when he unleashes on you, that's for 30 years of resentment that's coming for you. There you go. You just don't know, man. It's so easy to try and judge and size people up on their physical appearance, and it's a terrible, terrible mistake to make. I was having a conversation with Rocky as well. And Rocky's not this big, huge, muscle-bound guy.
He's about my size.
But he's an absolute animal. He's an absolute animal.
He's actually possibly the most in-shape, out-of-shape looking guy that I know.
Dude, this guy, one of the guys
Rocky,
from F3.
Yeah. And he's called Rocky because he was, at one point, a semi-professional, Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah. He's won fighting tournaments and whatnot. Yeah. His work rate, his work ethic, his ability just to freaking grind is crazy. When you're in the hole, you can on the surface you can come and toddle along and give it all Johnny Big Bollocks. None of that really matters because when the work comes, we're all gonna see what's going on and who crumbles and who doesn't. And hey, it is you versus you, so it's not a judgment thing. But it's great to it's great to give people their flowers when they really are on it. And like you say, he's unassuming.
He's the one person who I have to, whenever he's at one of the workouts with me, I've got to really push. If I like, otherwise I can sometimes coast a little bit at the front and go, I'm all right because I've got good enough strength, good enough. Well, actually, my strength is really good. My cardio is good enough, and I've got very, very good endurance.
His cardio is very good.
But I've got very, very good muscular endurance. So where some people, might do sort of 10 press ups, then 9, then 8, then 7, then 6. By the time they get to sort of 7, they're just absolutely cooked. I can keep just banging them out.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me is the faster running, but that's where he just hits it, man.
Yeah.
And he can just, hit that gas and keep that gas on. And so I can sort of stay close, but no, I've never ever managed to beat him when it's something that is, so like 11s, for example, which is some sort of exercise, let's say press ups at one end, jumping squats at the other, and you have to run backwards and forwards in between.
Yep.
And it's the combination of the two things where I'm like, Argh! So
it really gets you. The 11s are great work, man. Like the 11s,
he's just like pedal to the metal.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you can put him in pretty much any situation, and he's just still just ahead of the pack. You could tell he's got that high end competitive spirit in him, and he's got the experience as well. Like having a high spirit's great, but if your body doesn't let you do it, man,
but the thing is, he has trained, and he has trained hard, and he has trained hard for years. So it's those three things adding up. You know what I mean? It's like and he'll be, as I say, even though he looks out of shape, he will be fit in that weight for his whole life.
Yeah.
You know, bar injuries and stuff like that. Just for like his hips, for example, when he does the kicks, it's effortlessly just straight up over his head.
Yeah.
Now me, I'm like fighting.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm better than a lot of the guys, but he's just miles
Flying.
ahead when it comes to that. Yeah. And again, it's because he's trained and he's put in that effort and he's put in those hours years ago, and it will pay for years.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point actually. When we talk about people who are in shape and out of shape, usually when we talk about in shape and out of shape, we just talk about physical appearance. Whereas like someone like Rocky, he's not like out of shape when we say out of shape. He's just not jacked, let's say, or something like that.
He looks like a beer belly, but he's not. I don't think he's much of a drinker, if at all. I know he did at one point, though, his training regimen was so hardcore that he did, I don't know if it rupture his appendix maybe, but it was something along the lines of, if he didn't go to surgery and get it sorted out, that was the end of him. I don't know then if it's as a result of that, but he does like load of core stuff as well.
He's in shape.
He's not all cut and that kind of physique.
The engine.
Looking in shape, but his actual ability in shape.
Crazy.
Amazing. And there are other people who physically look like they're all cut and shredded, and they look all jacked and they look great, and they can't.
It's much harder. It's much harder. Yeah,
and it's laughable. They can't run. They can't barely do anything. They can't crawl. They can't do pull up. They can't do things. They just literally like someone's just come along and inflated them.
You know what? I wouldn't say like I'm a person who looks in shape but can't do anything, because I can do stuff. But it's really, I love it because it's humbling for me to see someone who, I'm not one to cast judgment, but like somebody who may not seem on the surface like they're in shape. Just put the
and then they just leave you in the dust.
You wait 60% through a beat down and you're blowing out your arse, and you look to the left and this fucker's still going, and it's not like it's like come on, go on, like it invigorates me. Do you know what I mean? To know like it brings you straight back down to earth.
The good
even
thing
if you
with
are
real
or not,
world
you just
stuff is it's all over, and that's the other thing.
What's that? Sorry.
So like the workouts we do, and when I say real world stuff versus gym, right? Versus like we talked about Eddie Hall, he would pick. He did the 500 kilo deadlift, and mate, I am not dissing a 500 kilo deadlift. I could not do it, but the ability to pick a thing up from there to there in life. I mean, yes, you could say the grip strength is great and this strength is great and that, but you know, just moving a thing from there to there and back down again, it doesn't. It's you don't really use it often.
I was having a conversation with Sketch, the FNG from this morning's beat down, his concrete son, about Eddie Hall actually. Funny enough, and I was saying Eddie's the best at what he does in that area. Yeah, I said, but Eddie would struggle with a beat down.
Yeah,
Eddie's struggling a beat down. You get him on some 11s, man. With press
all
ups
I'm thinking is bear crawls, mate.
Yeah,
bear crawls. I know.
Bigger guys, it becomes a problem.
I might be absolutely shocked, and he might smoke everybody. But the idea that again, just being big is the only thing, being strong is the only thing. But what in real life, like I've been doing stuff in the garden, and that's what I mean by real world stuff. Like, I've been doing stuff in the garden. Using the wheelbarrow. I was helping out Concrete Olympians the other day. Again, just sort of doing. Pickaxing, shoveling, just bits and bobs like that. And again, if you've only got X amount of strength to do X thing, you're going to get worn out if you do 8 hours of just shoveling.
If you've not been past 12 reps.
You've not been.
If you used to 3 sets of 12 reps.
So you might be able to pick a thing up from here to here, or you might be able to walk a thing from there to there for 20 metres. But can you walk the 3 peaks? Can you walk a marathon up and over hills in a day? Can you do it when it's cold and wet and windy and horrible?
That 3 peaks, I had to say no because I knew it was going to happen. After our hike,
I can't believe Hoops didn't know.
Because I was like, how many miles is it? I was like, I think I did 16 maybe. I can't remember. I was
we
like,
did Zoan soon.
yeah, really 16. I had to tap out at the third leg because my hamstring started malfunctioning on me, and I was swinging them hips, man. I was hanging on with one of the hikey things, man. I was like, like my mentality was like, yeah, let's keep going. And I was like, no, I'm gonna let the team, like the other one could go, and then
and then we got carried.
Yeah. And Mosey.
Leave no man behind, leave no man.
Except for Shaman.
We got to get back. I'm sorry, but no, it is very much. You know, people think I just put one foot in front of the other. I can walk. I can do this. Well, but can you?
Can you do it for 50 miles?
Really? And it's funny because we had the conversation in the car afterwards of Hoops, and he said about his grandparents. I think it could have been his parents, but his grandparents or parents who walked from one country to another country. You know, and it was something like 250 miles over the course of days. And they had to, because of war, they had to literally just uproot their life, carry whatever they had in their suitcases and walk across country. And he said to me, you know, on that 3 peak, that's what he was thinking about.
Wow.
And that's what he was thinking, this is only 26 miles.
He dug back.
You know, and
26 miles.
it's not even that warm, whereas obviously in Nigeria, where he's from,
blazing.
It's going to be a lot warmer, you know. So he that was his reasoning, like, you can't quit. Your grandparents or parents, as I say, his ancestry is made of tough stuff, let's say.
Yeah, it's brilliant where your mind will take you in times of struggle, in times of hardship, like grief or just pain, like where your mind will travel. Because we're here and now in this time, but once you go to them higher levels, you just lose sense of like what time is, where you're actually at. You go different places.
You talk about being present, like that is kind of the ultimate. You know, your brain is you only just put one foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other, and you're going, I want to die.
Right, so I've got 2 questions that I sent just a smidge earlier, and I didn't know which one you wanted to go with. Either one.
Sure show.
Right. That's a good shout. It is now.
My room, my mic, my setup. I decide how this bit goes.
But it's
you decide how the rest of it goes.
Right, so I don't know if you had time to think about the second one.
No, but then I didn't have much time to think about the first one because I've been learning Dock of the Bay.
Okay. And Game of Thrones?
Mate, and Game of Thrones. I've just been on it today. I've done loads of stuff. Been trying to keep busy because my back's been annoying me. So I've been like, right, you know, do this, do that, do the other bits.
Take your mind off it a little.
Right, so far away.
I'm going to ask one.
Okay.
If you need time to digest and think about it and let it pop into your head, then I'll ask the other.
Cool.
And while we're talking, maybe something will come to you.
Okay.
Right, so the first question is, what is the best or most impactful advice you've ever received? And then following on from that, why? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be the best, most clean-cut, Instagram quotey piece of advice. What's the piece of advice that maybe made you change the direction you took in your life, or made you see things in a different light?
Does it have to be advice from a person in real life, or could it be something from like a book or
it could be
or something?
Anything, book. The one that I've got is from a person, but it doesn't matter.
In your life?
In my life, yeah.
Okay, so you actually had the first-hand experience of someone delivering you this lesson?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Go on and let's hear yours. Cause...
It was very short.
Okay, that's what she said.
It was very short, and it was from my dad.
Okay.
And I remember I probably had another Barney with Lois, who's my partner. And I'm driving, it's down on the Fox Hollies. And he said to me, you know, you decide how you get treated in this life. Bearing in mind, I'm a weakling king at this time.
Yeah.
I'm a weakling king.
How old were you at this point?
Maybe 24?
Okay.
Maybe
so
24.
10, 11 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over a decade ago. And he said, so you get to decide, do you want to be a king or do you want to be a cunt? And it just... I don't know what it was. It's not like this eloquent piece of advice.
No, but this hit home.
It was like a psychological sledgehammer had come and just slapped me in the side of the head. And it just sat with me for so long. And I was like, do I want to be a king or do I want to be a cunt? Do I want to be treated like a cunt? Or do I want to be treated like a king? And he was like, you decide. And basically saying on the inner realm, like, you get to dictate how you act in this world and what you're willing to put up with. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that changed the direction of, number one, the standards of how I wanted to be treated were changed. And then number two, what I need to do as a man to get into a position where I feel just in being treated that way.
Because it's one thing to go, like, I want to be treated like this.
But what are you doing?
Just throw a little tantrum, I want to be treated like
Yeah.
this.
Do you know what I mean? I'm at this point, I'm playing computer games 12 hours a day. So do I really deserve to be treated like a king if I'm
just about to say? I'm not a mad fan of this word deserve.
Yeah.
Right, because deserve...
entitlement.
Yeah, it's kind of some sort of intrinsic entitlement. It's like, I deserve X, I deserve X.
Don't deserve shit in life.
What have you earned?
That's the what. There you go.
Have you fucking earned it?
And so from that, I didn't get on my whole horse and go, well, I deserve... Yeah, that's what it was. If you're grandiose, you're going to start saying that. You should do this. You should do that. So, yeah, it goes from that. But immediately my mind didn't necessarily go into that. Like, yeah, I want to be treated like a king. But immediately it was like, so what do I have to do to become a king?
How do I earn that treatment?
Yeah, because I can't act like a cunt and then expect to be treated like a king. It doesn't work like
Plenty
that.
of people do that.
Oh, mate, 100%. They walk around and, I need to do this and do that. It's a lot of the Tate followers. Oh, my woman needs to clean up and wash the dishes and do this and do all the house cleaning. I ain't washing any clothes. It's like, so what are you doing? Are you working at the moment? Oh, no, I'm not working. So what you're telling me is you just want to sit around and play on your PlayStation and have your missus do all these things? Like your mum would if you were like it's your mum, and you want her to fold up your clothes as well and put them in your wardrobe. Like it doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. So then unfolded in that, all the sequences to go, okay, so if I want to be treated like a king, I have to make the pathway towards becoming a king. Yeah. And so that, I guess that's part of where the journey started.
So it basically gave you a smack and woke you up.
It was the spark, yeah. For me, that was the spark, yeah.
I like that. So as you're talking, I was having a little think as well. And so I've obviously, as you know, I've got loads of sayings, and some of the ones I've come up with myself, and some of the ones I've got from other places, I write them down. So I would say sort of the best advice that I go round and round and round on every day is my own advice to me that I've constructed myself, which is balance is key, timing is everything, so long as you can breathe, the rest is easy. Yeah. And I say it to myself every day, and I say it to others almost every day if I'm ever out and about. And it is just, it always fits. Yeah. No matter what you do, it always fits. And so, to me, I've been looking for something that runs through and through every facet of every part of life.
That's your mantra.
And that kind of is it. So there's that. However, I'm not going to go, well, I have given myself the best advice, because that's a wanky answer. So
you've just reminded me of something, my mantra.
I actually, it's not even really advice, okay, but it's a fucking great question. And when it hit home to me, this question, not that he's the first person to ever ask this question to somebody, but it was Alex Hormozy on Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom podcast. And Alex Hormozy was talking about himself bitching, or basically going, oh, but difficult situation, negative, whatever. And the answer, which is kind of the advice, if you like, is, and that hit me hard. Like 30 your night, like a, for your account. And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, I can bitch and moan to the cows come home. I've got every reason to. And everybody, like, so for example, when I say about having crappy cardio, people go, oh yeah, but well, it's because you got bad lungs. You know, you were born with CF, so my man.
You've got a get out of jail free card to whine. Get out of jail free card for fucking everything. So I've got this other thing that there are no excuses, only reasons. So for example, oh, I can't go running, I've got bad lungs. Yeah. No. You need to go running, you've got bad lungs. Yes. So it's the opposite, and sort of like about a quarter of the time in life, it's the opposite. Yeah. And so that has always been a thing to me. If I allow myself to use the excuse, I will never not use the excuse. It's the best excuse. Yeah. You can get out of everything. And because it's invisible, nobody can tell you otherwise. So sometimes I even say to myself, are you sure you're not making this up? Wow. Right? I even question myself, like, are you sure this is
the real reason? Are you sure this? Are you sure that? Or are you just fucking trying to have one over because you're trying to get out of it, or you're trying to stay comfortable, or you're trying to have the easy route, or you're trying to this? Are you trying to pull one?
Basically? That's real willpower, because you pushed yourself to a point where you're questioning if you've even got the condition, because you pushed yourself out of that hole.
One point I tried to convince myself I didn't. One point I tried to convince myself I only got it because I believed I got it, and then it was brilliant.
Did you get blasted?
I stopped taking all my medication. This and this. Got really, really, really ill.
Damn.
Back in hospital again. Talking to the doctor. This doctor was an older, wiser, not an expert in my condition, but just he'd seen some shit clearly. And I said to him, I'd stop taking my meds. Blah, blah, blah. He went, okay, well, you tried that now. and I just remember going, all right, cool. He's not going to say anything about it because he knows that the state I'm in tells me everything I need to know about is the medication necessary.
You've learned your lesson. You're not going to do that again.
No. So he just moved on.
That's amazing.
Just like, okay, you've tried that now, so let's get you better and don't be so fucking stupid.
That's when you know you're in a presence of someone who has true wisdom.
Who's wise, man.
I don't need to talk and explain you through all of this shit. I know where you're at. I know what you've just gone through. I know the change that's happened in your mind. Me just talking shit to you isn't going to change anything. Let's keep it moving.
So, amazing. Yeah, the and question to me was really good because, so I am that guy of there are no excuses, only reasons. And so I would sit up in my room or sit in my chair, just, sort of that, at my iPad, going, but this is stuff and that is stuff and that is stuff and this is stuff and I've had to go through this and this and this and this and this and this and it's not just been one time and it's it's like not only every day but it's also every day and every single night and it's so the night affects my day and the day affects my night and all these things and it's not only that but it's never ended, it's ongoing, it's always been ongoing, it's since I've been born. If I don't know anything more than this, I've never been healthy, and I go through these kind of things.
Self-loathing becomes a comfort blanket.
Again, I feel like the victim. But there's no one to blame, and I often go, well, what can be done? Because I've tried to do stuff a million times, like the old Japanese proverb, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. And I fucking wish it was just 7 times. I'm like 700 and counting, And so I go, at what point am I a moron for keeping getting up and keeping trying? Because I keep getting up and I keep fucking trying, and I'm still in pain, I'm still this, I'm still that, I'm still why the fuck? And so when it was it was very much like, yeah, man, and come on, you're still here. You're still fucking, asking questions every day. Like,
keep on chugging.
Get your ass up and keep going.
Yeah.
And so you can have every fucking excuse or reason not to, but it really, it doesn't help you. And that kind of, does that serve me?
Yeah.
Does this concept, this idea, does it help me? Does it serve me or anyone?
Does it?
It's
great. I'm nodding, even though I'm just thinking in my head that isn't it interesting?
As opposed to in your knees. Well, not like Jimmy God.
Nodding knees.
I was thinking about it in my. I
was thinking about it in my shoulders.
I'm like, well, you don't think in your toes, do you?
I was thinking about it, and both of those pieces of advice were short and sharp. All the stuff that we've read and learned, and all the wisdom that's been departed on us. The stuff that hit us most impactfully was the shortest of things. One was a 5-second step.
The face will jar you.
Yeah.
And make you think. Ooh. Actually, you don't even need the punch. A slap in the face will jar you enough to think. Oh, hold on a minute, I need to reconsider.
Yeah, it'll wake you the fuck up.
Yeah. And sadly, and people can argue to the cows come home about it. I think smacking should be a thing. I think physical correction should be...
With children?
Well, just with anyone. I think you should be able to give someone a bit of a slap. Because, here's the thing. Like I said last week, if you go out and someone's a dickhead, they're a dickhead. If you go out and 16 people are a dickhead, you're a dickhead. So, I don't know why 16. 17 no, 15 no, it's still there.
17?
But, if everyone's a dickhead. So the idea being, it's like sometimes you might just need that slap just to give you that bit, and actually, I needed that. I needed that little correction. Not eyes ripped out, not fucking, just a slap. Just a sting.
Wait there, are we talking from anybody?
Anyone.
So Eddie Hall could just come up and be like, I'm having a bad day.
No, right, so here's the deal, right? Like,
you're number 17 once.
So if someone's just having a bad day, then it's going to, it's going to come back to them.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're having a bad day and you're going around like, rah, 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 someone should just be able to come around.
Straighten you up.
Wait, enough.
I did say...
Enough. Go home. Take a cold shower, go to bed, you know what I mean?
So my stance on it, it's a tricky one because one, there is definitely circumstances, I agree. Some people need sorting out, and teenagers would be definitely in the highest proportion of receiving slaps to correct them, because so many of them need bringing back down to fucking earth. Excuse my French. They need bringing back down to earth, and sometimes trying to get people in line. There's a certain point where it's like they're just like, fuck you. There's nothing that you could ever do to me, and sometimes a quick will
if you
bring
make a good example of one or two,
everyone
falls in line.
But
and
then you
go, that's barbaric, that's this, that's that. And people might say, like, hear that and go, that's toxic masculinity. No, that's education.
It's hard because you're going to complain about a slap for a 13-year-old that's offering out a grown man in the street. Well, when he hits 19, if he hasn't been straightened out, he's going to be fighting someone with machetes in the street.
Upstream.
There you go.
So, for example, if you're going to let a problem get worse and worse and worse, until literally you need rescuing just as you're going over the falls, i.e. just before you're going to prison, just before you're going to commit that robbery, just before you're going to stab that cunt, you rescue them up there with a slap. Yeah, it's way less painful, but just as impactful. Probably sometimes even more impactful if it comes at the right time, you see, because timing is everything. And so if you can nip it in the bud, and that's why nipping it in the bud is a thing, you stop that flower growing. You nip that shit in the bud in time. That person realises, oh, you mean there are real world consequences for things that I do
when
and
I
say.
act like a complete and utter bellend.
But when there are none... When we nerf all the sharp edges and we go, we can't tell them they're wrong and everybody gets a trophy just for taking part and showing up, no matter what they do. So no matter what your contribution is, you're going to get rewards anyway.
Exactly the same as everybody else.
No.
I've seen this in the school as well, man. But with that, and with what I've just said, I still would go to no. I would still go to no. And the reason is there's way too many dickheads out in the world who will exploit that. There are way too many bellends who will just go around happy slapping fools and doing all that stuff and then trying to justify it.
Okay, so
because
that's
reality,
about... Go on, sorry,
because reality in someone's eyes can be warped. They could have the goggles on, and if they've got the red goggles on, the war goggles on, they're going to feel completely and utterly justified in slapping this person. If you're a racist or a sexist, then you're going to believe that so-and-so or that woman deserved the slap. And in your mind, you feel 100% justified to do it. Doesn't make it right, because when you zoom out to actual reality, not that person's reality through their goggles, there's so many people who would misuse that. That's just my opinion. Oh, and I've got my mantra as well. But
oh no, so my thing was, I can't remember the exact quote, so I'm going to butcher the quote. But basically, pardon me, when good men fail to stand up and do their thing, they're actually bad men because they're not doing their job, right? And so I believe that people need to keep people in line, basically. And I believe that there are more people who are willing... more people who don't do harm, let's say. So, for example, in Ricky Gervais' Afterlife, I think it was, the woman who worked in the office said, oh, what, so you don't believe in a God? Well, why don't you go around raping and murdering as much as you want? And he went, I do. And she went, what? And I rape and I murder exactly as much as I want, which is not at all. I don't want to rape or murder anybody. And I think most people don't want to rape or murder anybody, right? And so most people, if they were trained, educated, and willing to stand up, and also knew that their fellow man would also stand up, if there's somebody out of line, so let's say there's okay, he's got a good door here. Kind of want to hear it, but well, all I say was, right, if it's 9 versus 1, it doesn't matter how big and tough that one is. Yeah? It's going to lose. If you've got 9 good dudes who are all trained as well, which is why I kind of think like national service should be a thing as well. At least learn...
Get prepped.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's someone's coming into your house.
Exactly.
Just to attack your family, you've got a baseline.
Learn some basic shit about your body, about your mind, about the person next to your... like all of these kind of things. So the way I look at it is, if we live in a decent society where people actually stand up and take action, and they're trained and educated when and how to do so, then the nutters and the people that feel just justified because they're having a fucking bad day,
they'll be put in line.
They'll be put in line.
I just had the mental image when he was talking about that, about someone being a dickhead on the bus and slapping someone else, and then everyone diving on him, grabbing him, lining him up, and just everyone just running, just a happy slap session. Yeah. Everyone walks off the bus and just slaps him as though.
And then like the finisher is the old lady who just gets go ting right in the nuts.
Handbag or a mug.
yeah.
Like your nan with a mug.
But This is the thing, look, if good people actually just didn't stand for that shit.
Yes.
Whereas now, people just go, phone, camera, I'll film that shit.
Passivity is such a huge problem, and people think that just being a passerby and just withstanding bad things that are happening is
just filming
absolutely fine.
A stabbing or whatever in front of them.
Hey,
well, look, man.
I'm not saying like be some crazy hero if there's five dudes running down the.
But again, it's like, man, whatever happened to? Well, the thing is, years ago we used to know our neighbours. Years ago we used to have a community.
Yep.
Now there is none.
No community.
You have to go far out of cities. Like predominantly, for people to know their neighbours. Whereas people live in tower blocks, people live in blocks of flats and apartments, and someone might be sleeping 2 feet that way, and they've got no idea they're 2 feet that way. Probably not 2 feet actually. You'd have to be pretty short if you live in a house where they're only. But maybe you're in a
tower block, of course.
The idea being that actually you don't know your neighbours enough to lend them or to give them a spare key. You don't know the people you're around who you're actually so close to, and that you pass on the street every day. You've got no connection to them, so why would you? Whereas years ago, you would because it was your cousin's wife. It was, somebody's daughter. Them. It was you knew people who knew people.
It's great to make the effort.
There was a community.
It's great to make the effort to build rapport with your neighbours. I moved into a grove 5 years ago, and I've got a good relationship with all of my neighbours. Most of the neighbours in the grove I know of, and I feel like making a conscious effort to go out and speak. It doesn't have to be, like, what did you get up to last year? No. Did you go on holiday? No, it's like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Weather's nice, isn't it? Small talk. It's small stuff that just connects you. Little sanity check. Little, hey, how you doing? I live next door to you. You live next door to me. Everything okay? Good to go.
It's also so that, like, so for example, a lot of my neighbours are elderly, that I look like I look, and I look like I could be really mean. I look like I could be someone who just don't even look in his direction or I kick off. But actually, people know that they can come knock on my door if there's an issue, and I will help out. So it's nice in that way then that they can have someone who can do things. Not everyone on the street's elderly, and that there is a guy who actually is very capable and who is active and can take action if needs be. But at the same time, he's not like revving his engine on his car. He's not, he's not like got all his mates around blaring his music till late at night and that. He's actually like a decent guy in that sort of sense. And I think, in being in part of a community, you tone down what your extremeness, if that makes sense, and you show respect to those around you.
Yeah, I think it's super, super important, especially men within, what would you call it? Fighting age, active age. Let's say 18 to 55. Hey, if you're doing well, even 60, 65.
I was about to say, like, you could even have 16 to bloody 60, 70 now.
16, like within that range, because if the shit hits the fan, they're probably going to be looking towards you. They're not going to be looking at Margaret, 85-year-old Margaret, to, hey, Margaret, what are we going to do? They're going to be looking to the people who are going to be the most able of action. And also, that being said, if there's problems in the grove or on the street, the people who are capable of the biggest problems are usually the men, the younger men. Do you know what I mean? Like, Susan might do a few Chinese whispers and talk a bit of shit, but Johnny over there with the alcohol problem might have just brought a new zombie knife, or he's got a gun. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit different. So I think it's very important to put yourself out there and be someone who is, generative in your community. And that brings me on to my mantra. My mantra is from a YouTube video that I watched. And I got into debt when I was younger. Went to university, did a year. At that time, I had my daughter, my eldest. She was 2.
What did you study at uni?
UCB. Sports therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was going into sports therapy. I wanted to be a personal trainer, and I don't know why I didn't reverse.
You realise there's no money in it.
I didn't reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
And so I thought I had to go to university and get a degree. That's my dummy, most definitely. And then after I went and did a 2-week course and got a piece of paper, I was like, I was like,
certificate.
It took me 2 weekends to get this qualification.
Get your NVQ.
Like, it's like,
very qualified.
Yeah, it's like 0.5% of like what I know. Like, people are anyway. Where was I?
I'm talking about your mantra. Into debt.
So I was working 14-hour shift in the bookies. I worked at Tote Sport / Bedfred, and summer weeks it would be 70 hours. It'd be 5 or 6 open closes because we were behind on money. We had to make ends meet, and we was trying to get out of debt. So while walking to and from the shop that I was managing,
which was how long of a walk?
Probably about 20 minutes.
Okay.
20, 25 minutes.
Sling your headphones on.
Yeah. I would put on an Inky Johnson motivational video. And in that, his mantra was empty the bucket. But the thing that I took from that video was, leave it better than you found it. Leave it better than you found it. And I guess that was the mantra that I have deep embedded in the back of my head. Whenever I do anything in the world, that means when I enter a room, can I leave that room, the energy of that room, better than I found it?
I'm going to say, so you never fart in a room then?
No. I hold it in.
Walk into a room, right, I can't fart in this room, I've got to leave it better.
If I'm letting it off, I've got to make big jokes about it. Like, if there's I've got to rebound it, you know what I mean? Bring it back.
Have a little fart and then just light a candle. I'm going to leave it better than I found it.
Hey lads, I've got a magic trick.
That's a good one though, leave it better than you found it. I like that one. What does the empty the bucket mean?
He's emptying it. I can't remember what his emptying the bucket was actually.
I'm going to say because that makes.
I listened to it every single day years ago, but
now you can't
I've forgotten more than I know. I guess. I'm trying to think what empty the bucket was because that was his slogan. And he had one at his desk. He had one in his gym. And he had one somewhere else. And I think it was about just being diligent to your craft. Essentially, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Kind of like leaving nothing on the table, kind of a thing.
Yes. And now that you've asked me that question, I'm going to go home and I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, you got to make sure you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can misquote all this stuff.
Yeah.
As long as you've got the caveat, I'm totally going to misquote this.
Yeah.
So you had another question as well. What was the other question?
Oh, the other question. The other question was, what makes a good partner? And it sounds like a very simple question, but I reckon we could definitely go down a rabbit hole and maybe even pick up on the next episode, depending on what makes a good partner.
Well, my thinking was, as in a male, like to a male partner in terms of, no, so you mean a romantic partner? Okay, cool. Because I was thinking a teammate kind of partner, you know, if you're going into battle kind of a partner is very, very different.
Different partner.
And I was also thinking the reason why it took me very, very long to think about that is I just need to check that the camera's actually all on. Because imagine that I hadn't even pressed record. It's all fine. Do you know when you just have a did I leave the oven on moment? And I'm going,
yeah.
Mate, we've just chatted for maybe 45 minutes or so.
Oh, mate.
And maybe we haven't recorded any of it. I'm just watching the things on there to make sure they're not clipping. Yeah. See, this is the stuff that I have to do. I have to think about this bigger picture.
You're the tech guy as well, man.
So, yeah, right. So, we're talking about a romantic relationship. So, we're talking about, as a guy, what makes a good... So, the reason why I clarified, I would then ask the question, what makes a good wife? Because that word wife, to me... Yeah. Changes the dynamic. So I know that it's a man, I'm the man thinking about what makes a good wife versus I've got to put myself in her shoes thinking about what makes a good man.
Yeah.
Or what makes a good partner, i.e. just like a person in life to go, you know, do things with, let's say.
Definitely when I say partner, I mean like
so you
long
call your
term.
missus your partner.
Yeah, she's more of a half.
And I would refer to a missus as my missus even if I wasn't married just because it's like a slang.
Yeah.
The missus.
That's
the other half.
Yeah. I'll call her the missus. Right, okay. The other half, like a long-term romantic partner that you plan on spending forever with.
So what makes a good one?
A good partner.
Right. And so I was thinking you can't have too many things, right? Because...
And I mean like, sorry, to be specific, in a man from a woman's perspective. Like what would make me a good partner to my woman? What made me a good partner to my woman?
Sorry, right. So I'm thinking about it the wrong way.
I've just realised there's two ways of doing that.
Yeah. So right, I'm glad you clarified that. So I was thinking about this way around as well. And in which case then I've come...
It was like, nice booty.
I was thinking in terms of like hotness, but not too hot and blah, 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 because that wouldn't be good. But the other way around, right. So this is something I thought about then. And there's one word, in fact, I think can sum it up, right? It's a C word.
Every time someone says C word, I just think cunt.
You must be a cunt. You don't get too close to the mic and laugh.
Oh, shit.
In the first video, the first episode, do you know where I cut it? It comes back in on the second part going, I'm definitely a bit of a cunt. Which I thought was a wicked place to edit that. I just like cut it there.
Perfect.
So I think that the C word is competent.
Okay.
Right? Because when you think about anything. A woman wants a competent man, right? He wants to be competent in bed. He wants to be competent, whether he's in the boardroom or whether he's playing with the kids, whether he's building things, repairing things. He wants to be a competent driver, a competent leader. In whatever way, shape, or form. You want him to be competent at brushing his teeth and doing his beard and clipping his toenail. You need that guy to be competent.
You don't want an incompetent toothbrush.
You do not want an incompetent toothbrush handler. Because think about what else you can do with that toothbrush. You just don't want a guy going anywhere near with a jabby jab. So if a guy's competent
with an Arnie voice, right?
If the guy's competent, I believe that kind of covers the bases.
Yeah, because competence is something that spreads over absolutely everything
across the board.
It's not necessarily a thing. It's the way you do the thing with competence.
This is why a bank balance is a proxy for competence. Because everybody in the world can play on that metric, right? So you go, okay, cool. So we'll see how competent you are compared to that guy based on numbers, because we can measure numbers, not based on anything else. But we can basically boil it down to, we can tell how competent you are at whatever it is you do based on how much money you have. Because the theory is, the better you are at what you do, the more money you
can make from it.
And the worse you are, the less you have.
There's definitely some caveats to that.
So absolutely, but
it's a great way to black and white it.
Yeah. So for example, I'm very, very competent in many, many, many ways. However, my health impacts me as such that I don't work, and it impacts me as such that I can't have kids and I can't have this. So actually, it does check.
Yeah.
In terms of, can you do something regularly, day in, day out? Would you be a good partner if this?
Yeah.
The answer is no, I wouldn't. Yeah. So when I think about it like that, as competent as I may be in many, many ways, actually, this high level of competence in these ways is kind of outweighed by no competence over here, in a sense of...
I get what you mean. Like, with all the thingies, you've got this bottom line hammer. Is this what you're referring to?
Yeah.
The way I see it is much more varied and nuanced than that. Because the first things I put 3, and I think part of it's because that's what I look for in a partner. And I think these are 3 pillars that allow people to maintain a balanced and healthy relationship, because without them, it really falls apart, regardless of how much money you've got in the bank. So the first one is trust.
Yeah.
A trustworthy partner, being a trustworthy person, being a man that says what he's going to do, does what he does the thing.
That's known as, I forget the word, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so like,
and it's not reliability, conscientiousness.
If you say you're going to work, you're actually going to work. You're not actually sneaking money.
You're
not
saying I'm going to work and then going gambling,
pissing off to the bookies to spin it off and get the house remortgaged or have to downgrade the car because someone's got a gambling problem, etc., etc. The second one, I think, communication, because without communication in a couple, you can very, very, very quickly forget where the other person is. You can forget where they're residing, what their status is essentially. And I don't mean status as in like how good you are, where they're at. Like having your my aunt Cora, aka Auntie Oracle as I call her, she calls it, especially with kids, keeping your thumb on the pulse. Your child, to make sure you're checking in, and so communication, it gives you that ground zero anchoring to check where someone's at and to express problems. Like, problem resolution has to be done with communication and confronting problems together. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, it gets swept under the carpet and those demons grow real quick. And the last one is appreciation. Having appreciation. And we spoke about this when we was talking about someone being appreciative of who you are and what you do. Because if not, it gets very demeaning very fast.
I think most men just want appreciation.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone does. Yeah. But I think for guys, like, women want more attention.
Yes.
And guys want more appreciation.
Yeah, they want the pampering kind. And we just want the, hey, thanks for doing, I really appreciate
what you did.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're doing well.
We're happy to and do all the things you want to do, and like just put all our effort into it, be sweating. Not that that's necessarily sexy.
Just a hearty thumbs up, man.
Just to get
That was great.
You don't even have to say words. Just at the end. You don't even have to do that. Just that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're like, oh yeah, I did a good job.
Caveman do good thing. Caveman do good thing.
Just about to say, we're like that. We want that praise, just like a dog wants a good girl. You know what I mean? No, we're not looking at a dog. Good girl. She's like,
we're simple.
Yeah. The ears go back, and you're like, that's literally it. That's
and
it.
ladies like free shooters.
So I'm gonna have a little counter then to your communication thing. So let's say you're good at communicating, right? You go, I'm telling you that I'm shit at everything.
Then you're fucked.
Well, what I'm saying is like my thing about being competent.
Yeah.
You could be good at communicating, but if you're good at communicating and
bad
nothing else, I'm telling you, I'm terrified of this. I'm useless at that. I'm insecure, and I'm this, and I'm this, and this. And as a woman, you're going to go, I don't. Fuck.
If you're good at communicating how terrible you are and not doing anything about it, you're setting your relationship on fire.
Yeah. So you're literally
just putting kindling. You're lighting the match.
So my argument is actually you don't have to communicate that well if you're very, very capable at just doing things. Competent.
Yeah, I think having.
So, for example, if you're competent at pleasing your wife, right, or partner. In all these various ways, right? You're competent at keeping her satiated.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know, like, her ebbs and flows, and you know, oh, this little thing that she says or does, this means she's a bit tense right now. She's a bit stressed. So I know the counter to that is if I notice she's a bit stressed, I can go and do this. I'll book her this, or I'll get her that, or I'll tell her this, or I'll give her a foot, or whatever it might be. Yeah. Oftentimes the answer's a good shagging, but again, a good shagging. It's not just sex that satisfies you.
Yes.
It's got to be satisfying
for
her.
It does
In fact,
work.
it might not be fun for you at all, but the thing might be that she gets some good sex, and that's what's then gonna fuck yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you're competent as a man, right, all of these little things go by the wayside. Whereas if you aren't competent, you can be trustworthy. Like, I trust he's fucking shit at everything he does. I trust I'm going to have to get someone else in to do the job after he's finished. I trust that we're going to have sex and I won't come. I trust that we're just about going to scrape by this month yet again, because I trust his lazy ass is going to sit there and do nothing. So 100%. You can trust these things, and they can be reliably fucking useless.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think those two are extreme examples of having all of one and none of the other. It's definitely a combination of both. You can't just have these things and not be competent. It all rests on a foundation of your ability to go out and do stuff. It really does. Because
so this is I've been watching various different things about relationship. It's worth saying that you're in a relationship. You've been in a relationship for how long?
20 years.
20 years and 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have not had a relationship that's lasted without breaking up for any longer than about a year. I've had like a relationship that's lasted longer, but with breakups and stuff. It's just worth caveating with that and saying like maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Two very different experiences though with relationships. You've got a lot of variety. You've got the heat. You've got the honeymoon period.
I've had a lot of that. I've had some lots of fantastic flavours, let's say, from around the globe, which has been great.
Spoken like a true lover.
Sorry, can't laugh into the mic. So, what was I saying about
our contrast in our relationships? You've been the different.
There was something before that though about it's basically saying like in terms of where we've come from in terms of relationships. But this is it. So I've been watching things recently, trying to learn about my own red flags, and then red flags to look for in others. So, for example, like while I might fancy something, if I'm looking for a long-term relationship, a good woman, then I'm like, okay, well, these are the traits of a good woman. This is where good women don't really hang out, or they don't really reside with these types of other women. So maybe if you see that, then it's a good indication that other is probably, So I've been watching a lot of stuff that talks about attraction, basically, in terms of you can have all of the things But if a woman's not attracted to you,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many of the things you have.
Yes.
So I guess in this way as well, attraction and competence kind of go hand in hand. Because again, you've got that Sadia Khan, you've got various other people,
Yes.
and you do the street interviews, and they'll say to a woman, would you rather have a guy who's a millionaire but he cheats on you, or a guy who's broke but he's loyal? It's like, I'd rather have the millionaire as long as I didn't find out. It's like, yeah, because this guy's a millionaire. He's capable. He's capable of having affairs without getting the lipstick on the collar. He's capable of doing these things because he's a capable, smart guy. But in doing so, it's kind of like that.
I do see where you're coming from. I don't think you can maintain a relationship if you don't have any areas of competence. Like, if you're gonna, women will pick a competent guy without money over an incompetent guy with money. Most of the time, it takes a competent guy to make money.
But if the guy's been like a trust fund baby,
hey,
kind
trust
of
fund
thing,
baby's a
like,
perfect
but you'll
example.
still get women hanging around with that guy just because they can get the scraps
they'll
and
rinse
stuff
him.
like that.
There'll be leeches that will rinse him until he's got nothing. I just wanted to go back to your point. You were saying the competence of knowing what your woman needs and being able to deliver it and having that competency. I'm yet to find a man that can do that reliably. Know exactly what his woman needs all of the time and get it on. Because honestly, I think there's a lot of women out there that, depending on what day they're on, they don't even know. They've got no fucking clue what they
again,
need.
It's that, okay, so a competent man can remain attractive, and this is what it's talking about in terms of the attraction thing, is that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're a competent man, right, you could be with someone who's in a bit of a bad mood, but if you do something that's just fucking cool or sexy or like, oh shit, man, that was amazing.
It pulls them.
So it kind of reminds you, like, wow, yeah, I'm lucky with this one. I appreciate this one, even if you might not be in the best of moods, because you've got someone who's competent at stuff.
Yeah.
And when they're competent at stuff, they're less likely to annoy you. In fact, this is what used to annoy my mum, was that I used to win at stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So it's funny that people often identify with the term loser. I'm like, I really have never identified with the term loser. I win like all the time. And it really annoys people.
Can you not see my W?
And so this is the thing. It's actually, it can bug people if you are too good at stuff, because they actually don't get a shot, and it's not fun to play against you. But at the end of the day, the competent person is going to maintain that attraction with just generally with everybody, And as long as they're not a dick about it, as long as they're not like a sore winner, do you know, like some people are all, like a bad winner. Don't be that guy. But
so if we take it off of competence, because I think competence is so broad, you can apply it to everything. What?
But that's why. But when you asked the question, I was like, I want to try and distill it down to one thing, and the
You're
one
thinking about
thing,
the and you was like,
I was like, literally, if you're just looking, be one thing.
Be competent.
Be the guy that can do the fucking thing. That's it.
It's a great place to start. It really is. It's a great foundation and baseline. So if I was talking about skills and attributes a bit more specifically, is there anything that pops into your head and you go, yeah, that'd be good? Well, I think a sense of humour is great.
So that is the magician. That is the creativity meets the brains, essentially.
The magician and love, for sure.
You rarely get someone the size of like Eddie Hall being the comedian, because he doesn't need to do that to get the attention. He's the big dude.
I don't need to lean into the brains. I've got the ball.
Whereas oftentimes the comedian is the guy who is the awkward guy who does sort of more look from the outside and observe, and then find funny ways of looking at life. And so humour is a great.
I think their ability
humour is a great way to signal intelligence.
100%. Like if you watch stand-up comedians working on the fly, you see their back and forth interaction. Then every time they deliver something, they're reading the crowd, they're downloading information about how they're reacting, and then they're taking that forward in their refinement process.
Do you know what they have as well?
Like a scientist.
They have really good timing.
Impeccable. And it's all down to repetitions. Well, some people are natural at it, of course. Some people are more natural than others, but being able to go out there and essentially conduct a crowd, you're literally
changing the whole vibe of the room.
The conduction of the energy, and that's exactly what a magician does.
That's a really cool skill to have. So the ability to hold a crowd, the ability to public speak, the ability to simply communicate thoughts, ideas, feelings, whatever it might be, or instructions as well. I would say is possibly one of the greatest skills you can possess.
Yeah.
If you can command a room.
It's something that I'm definitely working on now. Me naturally being more towards the magician, I'm completely happy sitting on the wall, sitting fly on the wall on the outside. So being somewhere now, I know it's only me and you in a room, but to put something like this out on the old internet, it's quite big. On internet. It's quite a big thing for me because you're just putting yourself out under the limelight. You're stepping into the king, essentially being the centre, putting yourself in the situation where you were the centre. And I'm realising the amount of impact you can have when you can conduct a room is way more than you putting stats and figures on the sidelines. I love me a graph. You want to say, I love a graph, mate. I do pop the figures in and all that goes there and that does that. Love it. But it doesn't generate change in the same way that a person who's truly got conviction and believes in what they're doing to be able to captivate people and go, this is where we're going.
Takes passion to lead.
Yeah, it really does. You need to have the ability to generate that energy.
Say
and then
what
push
you
it
want
forward.
about old Adolf, right? But when he was up there talking, mate, everyone was on board. Everyone was listening, following along.
Everyone, yeah. He was for him to capture an entire country.
Don't know what he was saying.
Yeah, mate.
That's like one of the Bill Burr things.
All I
He's like, I
know is
wish I want to learn to speak German just so I can listen back to
Pump
what
me
he's
up, man.
saying.
Pump me up.
And he's like, because that guy could really lead a crowd, man. He had some hype, that dude. But you need passion. You need it,
you have to.
You can't be a leader and rally people saying, okay, today we are going to go that, it's like, no,
put you to sleep. You got to speak to the hearts of people, and he did a great job of doing it. I know we're talking about a genocidal maniac, by the way. We're not under any illusions here.
Like, a car can be used to take people places, or it can be used to run people over.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
And he picked supervillain.
Exactly.
He had all the skills, and he aimed straight down.
Exactly that.
So if you're able to separate the skill set from the way they're aiming, you can extract positive things from terrible people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no one in history. There's nobody. If you analyse them, there's nobody that through and through were great. No. And I watched the thing on it the other day. You could take absolutely anybody and go, oh shit, they did some really horrible stuff. Yeah. And so it is just a case of, look, man, they have these certain attributes, skills, whatever you want to call them, competence in certain areas.
What are you doing with them?
It's what they choose to do with it.
What are you doing with it? And that's usually where I, lay my hat on how I see people. It's not about the skills that you've got. What are you doing with it? Oh, you're a great fighter. That's awesome. Great skills. You can fight. What are you doing with it?
Yeah, who are you fighting?
Are you fighting? Are you empowering others and teaching them how to fight to protect themselves? Are you sticking up for people when they're being bullied on the streets? Or are you going out, getting 2 drinks in you and trying to knock out quiet guys who are just trying to have a good time? Because it's how you use what you've got which really determines who you are. It really does. And so I think the separation of those things is really important.
So in terms of then, you said the trust thing.
Yeah.
But again, having the competence as well. So this was the other thing I was thinking, if it's like the other way around, if it was what makes a great wife, not what makes a great husband, i.e., what makes a great female partner, that to me, like the trust is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because you're letting them sleep next to you in your bed. You have to trust them. They could slit your throat, poison your food, like any...
Hey, we've all seen them American shows.
Do you know what I mean?
You were sleeping in the bed and I pulled out the revolver. I said I had enough of you. Like, nah, man.
I've not seen that. But no, the idea...
The one where she rolled him up in the carpet and got the kids to dig up the thing.
I've not seen
Oh,
that.
my
Sounds
gosh.
interesting. I mean, I've heard all sorts of horror shows.
Good googly moogly. It was...
But yeah, man, in that sort of sense, I've thought about that, and I thought that the biggest thing, again, just trying to boil it down to one thing, obviously you've got to be attracted to them, but the trustworthiness, I think is the, again, if they might not be, like, for example, they might not be a great communicator, and this is, because I try and take things to the nth degree, I try and sort of follow it through. Mm-hmm. I'm very chatty. I'm very, one with my words. Let's say not as eloquent as the likes of Russell Brand, and certainly the more weed I use, the more my brain is getting melted.
He's magical to listen to.
It's phenomenal the way he spins. But I was thinking, what about if I was with someone who was deaf and dumb? And so I could stumble through some sign language, you could write some stuff down, read lips. Yeah. But the communication isn't going to be what I would think I would want.
Yeah.
But if they were trustworthy, they were through and through on my side. I knew they had my back, and that no matter what, people could try and twist them and manipulate them, and the old FBI trick of, he's not, he doesn't really this and this, and he's just sold you up the river. And it's like, no, I trust him, I believe him, I'm on board. And if that means we drive off a cliff, if this is, then he must have packed a fucking parachute, because there's no way he would drive off a cliff if he hadn't funked this through. And if he hasn't and he's done it, well, this is who I've chosen to hitch my wagon to, and that's he's chosen, and that's it, we're going out together, and that's what he's decided. That's, to me, like, that's...
I completely agree with you. You can't build nothing if you haven't got trust. And I say that competence is the foundation, but I will change that. I think trust is, because for me, honesty is the top of the list, and it always will be. I think I said it in another episode. Honesty is the top of the list. If you can't trust your partner, then you don't know who your partner is. They could sell you a dream, man. They could do, I'm this and I'm that and blah blah blah. And if
that's to me, so when they're good at communicating, they can communicate all these ideas. But actually, what's their follow through like? What does it actually come down to?
And part of that honesty and trust is, I trust that you're gonna do, or at least try your hardest to do what you say you're gonna do. If you're a person that says you're gonna be over there, but you're actually over there, like, you're not trustworthy. That's just my opinion. Like, it goes outside of just words. It's actions, and that's how you build trust.
That's why I say, to me, for that communication thing, it's like, okay, to me, not so much. Because again, I've dated some dated sounds very, I hate the word dated. I've been in a relationship with several foreign girls for different periods of time over the years, and again, the communication might be a little bit off, but if fundamentally they're just good, trustworthy people, and that you, even if like what they're saying, you go, hold on a minute, I don't quite get that, that they mean what it is they're saying. They're not just trying to have one over on you. And so to me, I'd never be with someone who I couldn't trust at all. As soon as someone, and ironically, my ex-wife, I said to this as well, I said, like, the most important thing for me is honesty. Don't even think about lying. And she just told me the most outrageous lie that I didn't think anyone would lie about. I didn't think you would lie about being raped as a kid.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, not raped as a kid, being raped by your ex-boyfriend.
That's a big lie.
Big lie.
That's a big...
People don't lie about that. You don't lie about that. Right? And then it turns out, well, you do. And, it was that she was abused as a kid, not that she was raped by her ex-boyfriend. But it was like, her way of kind of testing the waters was, well, if I tell him this, I'm going to see how he reacts to that. And then,
Then I can segue that in. There's just the thought of that shows that there's mind games going on. That's shadowy magician stuff.
So I didn't realise this, and I was sort of naive in that way. So I was at 18, just trying to do the white knight thing, I believe you call it. Just be the good guy,
It's hard to see stuff when you got them blinders on as well. If you're loved up, you're really in it, and you're like, this could be the one. I'm having a good time. She's having a good time. There's so many different things, like red flags. Well, I don't know why I did quotation marks. Red flags that will just pass you by and you not realise until the cracks start to show down the line once the honeymoon period starts to wear off. And you go, oh, shit.
It was so, like, for example...
Was it early on, by the way?
Yeah.
Wow.
When someone drops a bomb, so it was that... within the first couple of weeks or whatever it was, when someone drops a bomb, you're like, I can't leave now. Like, I was the polite guy. So, for example, I've showed up for dates before in an instant, because it was like an internet kind of thing. You go, oh, no. Like, this is not...
You're not who you said you were.
And
is
so
that
not
what you mean?
Not even that.
You
just kind of go, you're not hot at all, I don't fancy you, like, whatever. Just instantly you can just tell.
Yeah. Is that because of, like, sorry to keep interjecting, is that because of, like, what they presented compared to who they were? In real life? Or was it just a realisation?
Yeah, sometimes that. Sometimes you get the face shot that neglects to show the fucking fat ass. Sometimes you just get the filtered kind of, my face looks better than it actually is.
Yeah.
You've got all that stuff. And then other times you just get a vibe from someone in person, like, they're just tatty.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, you just dress that photo up to look good, because that is not you, really. But I was a sort of polite dude who would see the date through anyway, just because I didn't want to, like, do that to someone, because that to me seems like, just to turn up and go, nope, and walk. I know there are people that do that, and I've got the ability to be that guy, but I was never that nasty, so I do the thing anyway. And yeah.
So would you see that the discrepancy between the picture and who they are as a form of dishonesty?
Oh,
because
yeah, mate, I see makeup as a form of dishonesty. I see any makeup push-up bras, any fucking hair extensions, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is what made me laugh years ago. I was I'm not much of a pub person, but this girl was just out around the table. I don't even know who it was, but there's a bunch of us chatting, and this girl was talking about guys lying. No, guys lie more than girls lie. And I said to her, right, fake hair, fake eyelashes, push-up bra, or fake chicken fillet things. I said, I don't think they're fake boobs. And I was like, you got fake tan on, you got heels on, like you got fake nails on, yeah. You got none of that's real. None of that you're fucking presenting. None of that's everything about you is a fucking lie.
Yeah. Damn.
And you're standing there telling me that men lie more than women when everything about you tonight is a lie. I was like, this is my hair, these are my teeth, this is, I like Jim Jeffries one about I'm a 5. You see that? No. He's like, I'm a 5. How do I know I'm a 5? I was like, I've got hair, but it's shit hair. 5. I've got eyes. They do not sparkle, but they face in the same direction. 5. I've got teeth. They're a little bit crooked. They're a little bit yellow, but they're all mine. 5. If I walk past someone in the street, they're neither excited nor disappointed. 5. And that's so, yeah, it's a great look. Yeah, and I'm like, everything about me is 100% real and natural. Yeah. That's that.
Oh, that brought up a quote in my head. I don't know if you've heard it before.
5.
5. I just imagine, is he an Aussie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Really
that was good.
I don't do the Aussie one a lot, but yeah.
So the quote is, I'm going to butcher this right now. Okay, what is it? It's men fall in love with what they see and women fall in love with what they hear. That's why women wear makeup and men tell lies. And I thought that, and I read that, I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like a man will, there's a lot of men out there who would tell porkies. They would tell them porkies to get in them panties. They'll tell some porkies.
I've never done that. And it shocks me.
Do you want half us?
It shocks me the amount of guys that do. And it shocks me the amount of guys that will do all sorts of stuff just to try and get laid. And
because they have a problem that you've never had.
Well, yeah, but this is it, yeah? And so, I remember once, a couple of years back, this girl went, oh, man, I bet your dog gets you so much pussy. Which is a funny thing to say anyway.
What, by catching and killing cats?
And so, this was going back 2 years, so I was 38, she was 23. And the concept of using my dog as like bait, going fishing to get girls, never crossed my mind. And for her to think that it does makes me think, well, she's the sort of girl that would go with a guy just because they've got a cool dog. And instantly I was like, ugh.
Stroking the dog like, almost had me there.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, well, hold on a minute. Would you fall for would you end up in bed with a guy just because he's got and the answer is like, yeah, a lot of girls would. And that's just sad, man. So guys will borrow a friend's dog just to go fishing for girls.
I think if men don't know how to act with women, they're going to try and get things. Yeah, they're going to look at the stats and figures.
Mate,
that's where the whole pickup artist thing comes from. It's all trickery. It's all manipulation, shadow magician stuff. You know what you could actually do instead of working on trickery and deceptions? Kid someone into bed, and then you wake up in the morning, and instead of the Beauty and the Beast thing, you go, oh, this guy's actually. He's not who he said he was. Do you know what I mean? He's lied to me about all this stuff, and he's not who he said he was. You've got something to say.
No, well, yeah, but this is again. It's like that kind of don't sort of just chat shit and try tricks. It's like be good at the thing. Yeah. So
get good at
my dad's. Obviously been married to my mum for years. They actually did get divorced, and I think they're back together. I don't really know exactly, but years ago he went, "Oh, can you show me how to do this thing on piano? Because I want to learn this song for mum. Like she really likes this song." And yeah, okay, so you go art, right? And I just thought, okay, yeah, like if you learn the piano. I mean, no, I just just want to learn how to just do the little tune thing. I'm like, right, see, if you really fucking cared, you would actually put the effort and the energy into learning the piano and playing her favourite song, and you would spend a couple of years doing it, because that's the kind of romantic thing to do.
Are you just trying to get my mum into bed? Tell me that. What's going on?
But the idea being that It's like, well, no, if you actually really cared and you really loved her and you wanted to make the fucking effort, make the actual fucking effort, not the trick effort, not trying to pull the wool over, like, oh, I learnt the song for you. Mate, you were trying to put in the least amount of effort, the least amount of time possible to get there. And that to me, and I was just like, learn how to play the fucking piano. And then you can play whatever she wants.
You hit the nail on the head. Do the least amount of effort possible. Like, there's nothing wrong with putting in extra effort. And I know it's hard to get over that barrier, but putting the effort in to do the thing properly is the exact reason why a woman's going to be attracted to you, because you put the effort in to do the thing properly. You can't cheat someone out of that. You can cheat someone out of it for a night, for a weekend. You know, you can charm someone's pants off and wear some nice clothes and make yourself look amazing. But once they see what's going on underneath the surface, if you're genuinely concerned about having a relationship with a woman, you need to work on these cornerstones. You know,
habits always shine through as well.
100%. You can't.
You're not going to be that conscious all the time. You will slip up, and it's kind of like the concept of, you know, the criminal being chased by the police. The criminal only has to mess up once. The police can mess up again and again and again and again and again. They can miss things and they can drop the ball and they can whatever.
Same time tomorrow.
Criminal only has to mess up once, and that's it. It's like, are you so shit hot that you aren't going to mess up even one time? So I'm pretty good, but I'm going to still mess up.
It doesn't make sense to me, because you're portraying as a person that you're not. You know in your soul that you're not that person, but you put on this face, this facade or whatever it is, to try and trick this person into having this with you. It's like, yeah, it's going to take longer. Yes, it's going to be harder, but why cut corners? Because you're just less of a man for it. You know what I mean?
The issue's not just that. Right? Let's just say you cut some corners and you do manage to pull the wool over someone's eyes long enough to get into a relationship with them. Yeah. Every day you're just shitting yourself that they're going to find out. Every day you're worried that they're just going to go digging and you're going to be discovered.
How much energy does that take to keep up the facade of being something that you're not? You might as well have just spent the energy, front-loaded the energy before the relationship, and just...
But people are impatient. People are really impatient. People want everything faster.
The instant gratification.
You know, this is the issue. People don't want to put in time, effort and energy nowadays to something. They just want to take the pill. They want the cheat code. They want the thing now. And like I was saying last week about that Stephen Bartlett thing with Esther Perel, she said, well, you actually, I'm not sure if we were talking about that or I was talking about someone else. But the idea,
you mentioned it to me.
Okay, so it's like he said, is there a way of getting it quicker? She went, yeah, that's just arrogance, like thinking that you can have the seasons faster than they come. You know, it's like,
can I have it 10 times faster?
Things take the time they take.
Yeah.
If you want to build actual competence and build actual confidence that goes with it, do the reps, do the fucking thing. There is no way round it.
No.
There is no way through it. You just have to do the thing.
Do the thing.
So that's why, again, I come back to that competence. Women, in my mind, don't have to be able to do the thing. They have to be able to support me doing the thing. If I'm, if I'm doing the thing, it's like, cool, man, I'm happy to do the thing. I'll do the fucking thing. I'll do it in the rain, in the sun, in the shine, in the whatever. I'll do it when there's marauders coming. I will do it whenever, whatever.
Yeah.
But what I need from you is your support.
Yeah.
And because I need your support, and you're going to literally be behind the curtains, you're going to have all the keys to all the things, you're going to be, inside the medicine cabinet, I need to fucking trust you.
Don't you be giving me poison, man.
And that is literally it. And so to me, the more, in a sense, in a way, the more innocent someone is, the more trusting they are. Like kids are way more trusting and they're more innocent.
100%.
But you obviously need to...
Less motives.
You need to find the innocence with the trusting and not abuse it. I think that's the key. The innocence and the that I think nowadays is pretty much gone. But for the next generation coming up, I think if you are a younger guy, I think finding the innocence and then not doing anything to tarnish that, not doing anything to betray it, not doing anything to get them to question, wait a minute, do I really trust this person? Like, nah, man, you earn their trust and you fucking keep it.
Because sometimes in finding that things that's perfect and beautiful, you can tarnish it by becoming unperfect, and not to say perfection, but you can be unbeautiful yourself. That's why you got to front load the work, do the work before you get put out on the grand stage. Do you know what I mean? Well,
that's why years ago, again, you weren't just a man when you hit a certain age, and this is what we was talking about the other day. There were trials, there were tribulations, they went over many years, and you had to kind of earn it. Like, you had to earn the man status. You had to earn your stripes. It's called earning your stripes in the army, isn't it? You had to earn the position.
That's not there anymore.
And nowadays you don't have to earn shit.
Yeah.
And everyone's very entitled. Or it seems like they're very entitled.
In a Brazilian tribe, they have a ceremony where they create these bullet ant gloves.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've not seen the thing.
And the sting from the bullet ant, it gives you a neurotoxin, which is meant to be the worst known pain.
It's supposed to be like on a 10 on the pain scale,
it's right at the top. Yeah. It's right at the top, and they sedate these ants by putting them in a bucket, putting something that puts them to sleep essentially, stir them up, and then they start threading them into these fucking gloves, man. And they're like sleeping ants, and they put the stingers facing inwards. Yeah. So they got like 200 ants, 100 on each side, and then they wake up. And they're pissed because they can't move. They're tied down, so they're just fucking pissed, man. And then they slide them in the gloves, and they've got to dance around with these gloves for 15 minutes. Whoa. And the ants are just going ham. And one sting is like a 10. So the pain is so excruciating. These guys have to go through this process.
So you just disassociate your hands from your body.
Yeah, 20 times. So the pain goes all through your body afterwards, and it's a 24-hour process. So after you take the gloves off after 15 minutes, the neurotoxins last for another 23 and a half hours. So you've got literally a whole day of torture before the pain goes, and you got to do that 20 times before you're considered a man by that tribe. That is, hey mate, maybe that's a bit extreme, but there's the threshold. Have you done the runs?
Do you know what I like about that? Right, I'm obviously I don't know the thing, so medically there could be some danger there. But I like the idea of that, like a smack, i.e. I call that pain, not hurt. Hurt, to me, is long-term injury or damage.
Okay.
Right? Something that will affect you. So if you're a kid and you get hurt, you might lose an eye. Well, I mean, you could argue, okay, well, eye on the, you could have a new eye, but let's just go back 100 years. You lose... yeah. So, go back 100 years, you lose an eye, that's going to affect you. Yeah. That is going to carry through the whole rest of your life, with all the things that you do throughout the day.
It's like a wound, it's like carrying the wound.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, pain, on the other hand, like a smack, it's seared in, or it shows something that you can handle something. You've got the 24 hours of fuckery, like, oh my days, but after that, healed, repaired, fine. You've got the memory of it, but as far as your hands go, they work just as fine. Everything's fine. There's
fingers,
no damage.
5.
10.
Hey!
Hopefully. Fuck! Lost the hand. Let's put that into the number.
Now I'm hurt.
So that exact thing. So to me, like, that is, if it's going to actually damage you long term, not smart. But if it simply shows that you can withstand X. So for example, like if you're the men in the tribe and you have to go out and you have to hunt, you might get bitten by a bullet ant while you're sleeping or while you're trying to hunt, and you can't let that distract you from doing the job at hand, because that actually might end up matey gets killed because you lost. So you have to show that you can withstand the thing and still do the dance. You have to show that you can still, whatever the mission is, even if X, Y, or Z.
100%.
And not only you need to show that to yourself and prove that to yourself, you need to show everybody else.
Yeah, and that's why it's so cool as well, because when you go through that process, the whole tribe, the whole community, they know you're a man. They know it, and that's more than you feeling like a man inside. Having it outside in that external environment, man, it's so important, because that fills you then. That fills your soul to know that you're recognised in that sense.
Nowadays, all this self-identification bullshit. Like, I say I'm this, therefore you got to, you got to regret. Fuck off. You can say you're something, but I don't have to regret.
It's like doing your own initiation.
Well,
I am now a unicorn. Like, what did you do to become a unicorn?
The reason why I feel like a lot of these people are shouting and screaming and so upset is because no one else is mirroring back what they think they are. So, for example, I could say to all the guys at F3, I don't feel very manly, and all of the guys will go, you this, all these manly things, like build you up, right? So, because they're all saying, well, we don't care what you see, we all see this. Now, you know as well as I do.
Oh, yes.
I don't care what you see. But, in terms of, if you're saying, I see this, and nobody else is agreeing, then you're going nuts, right?
Your reality is not the reality.
Whereas everyone, you can go, I feel insecure, I feel this, and everyone else goes, no, we think you're fucking amazing. We still want you around. We still value you.
That's confirmation of who you actually are.
Exactly, and that counts way more than the flip. You going, I think, like on X Factor, when they go in and go, I can sing really well, and everyone goes, boo, You're shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, you'll see, I'll show you, I'm the best. You're like, no, you're delusional.
Yeah.
You're nuts. You've got no idea. And everyone else is right and you're wrong on that one. And it's just like someone going, I'm competent. No, you're fucking not.
You're not.
You know what I mean?
You got to show it. You got to show it to a point that other people believe it. If you can't, and it's not to say that you've got to kid anyone into it, because you're not kidding anybody into it. You're displaying it. You're displaying a thing like, I am this, and I'm going to put this out into the world through hard work, through diligence, through trials and tribulations, like you say, and through time, repetition. This is how it comes, until people go, oh yeah, that guy, he can get through a workout. I've done 30 beatdowns with that guy. Like, yeah, can he do Merkins? Of course he can do Merkins.
Merkins push-up, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So when you talk about display, right, it's funny because I was talking about talking to Hoops about initiation stuff, and he's talking about in his village. So he was from Nigeria, and he said, I don't know, it wasn't his village, but it was
a neighbouring village.
It was something like, because I know he grew up more in the city, but it was something from. I don't know, maybe his father. It was something anyway that he knew about near him, let's say. And the guys would get whipped with like a branch of some kind, yeah? And like a horrible, like, kind of. But again, it would leave a mark and it would go. It's like, it's a stinger and it might last a week, but it's a pain thing, right? Yeah. And so he said, possibly like a dance around thing where the juveniles have to withstand the pain and they cannot show it. They have to just maintain that stoic facade, right? But what he said happens is the women who watch the guys get hit end up going, oh, like that, right? So your wife, essentially, you want her to feel your pain. As in, so you're stoic, you don't react. But you're kind of looking for the one who reacts the most to you getting hit, because it shows that she cares that you're getting hit.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's cool.
So you go, she likes me. Yeah,
that's
if
really
there's someone
cool.
over there who's chatting to her mate, she couldn't give a fuck that you're getting hit. But the one who likes
she
you
hates
is
him. She's
watching
cheering you on.
every little thing and thinking, that's my man.
That's such a fucking good indicator.
You two, display-wise, you want him to display nothing, and you want him to display. You want her, to display all the emotion.
Wow, that's such a good.
That's how you find
picking process, because it's like a reverse engineered version of finding it out, and
it's kind of like you know who cares about you.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
and you can't hide that either.
The more women that cheer for you, the more women that go, oh, when you get hit, you go, sweet, I got the pick.
It's like reverse cheering, isn't it?
Yeah, it works really, really well, and I think that if you're a dude, like if we had this in Western culture. Take the punishment.
Yep.
And if women see you take that punishment, But in the day and age we're in, it's very, very, very difficult for men to know how to actually display manly qualities.
Yeah.
And competence, to me, is that.
100%. I found mine in the gym, like I've said before.
As in the fighting gym?
Yeah.
Lifting weighty gym.
Fighting gym. And it's crazy to see the changes and development that you make. So, proud parent moment, guys. Proud parent moment. So,
lean back.
I took my daughter to Thai boxing today. We've been going 3 times a week and whatnot. And then after the session, I'll do an extra 15 minutes on top. So she does an hour of training, and then we do 15 together, 1-to-1, where I,
go back over what she's just
go back over certain things, ask her if there's anything she's unsure on, and we can refine it. And just go through that repetitive refinement process. And the first time she walked in, she was super nervous. She didn't want to be there. She was unsure if it was really for her, but she knew that she had to kind of do it. This was the bite the bullet moment. And so she's been going for about 6 weeks now. And it's amazing because, like, me knowing the 4 quarters, I know she runs low on the warrior. And she leans towards more being
it's the same
cowardly.
for women as well, is it?
Oh, yeah. It's the same for women.
And queen, I guess.
Yeah. So essentially, I've kept it simple. I've kept it as a pyramid, 4 sides, when actually the structure of the South is an octahedron. It's 2 pyramids base to base together. Now, in a man, the top pyramid is the conscious man, the masculine side, with the king, the warrior, the lover, magician, while underneath is known as the contrasexual, which is the feminine side, which is the queen, the warrior, the magician, the lover. So there's 2, and that is you being in touch with your femininity. And also how you relate, that's reflected in how you relate to women also. So if you see a man,
so like me, very high in femininity, then that's why I can relate to women very well.
yes, because you've got more of that bottom in there. You've got the understanding of contrasexual. If you've got a guy who's just out here, he hates women and he wants to beat them up and he thinks they should all be purged from the planet or just kept around his house for sex and washing dishes.
I do like that idea.
He's ruined the whole thing.
I don't mind washing dishes, but just having like a woman in each room for different sex.
I hate washing the dishes. So where was I? Oh, my daughter.
Contrasexual, your daughter,
yeah.
Thai boxing.
So when we was, so I was like, you need to go. And she's gone. And she was like, Dad, I did it today. I was like, what did you do? So she got this friend, not really a friend, but she's kind of latching onto her. She's more extroverted, the friend is. And my daughter's very introverted naturally, but she's a kind person, more understanding. And so she kind of got left with this friend a couple of times, and this friend's causing drama. She's a gossip, she's a bit of a flirt, etc., etc. And I'm like, it's probably not the person for you, but she didn't know how to pull the band-aid off and essentially tell her to do one, you know? And so today she was like, I told her. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I told her I don't want to be friends with her anymore. I said, what? I said, okay, nice. And she said I was going to message her, and I thought, no. I'm not messaging her. I'm going to go and find her. Yeah. So she went, she found the girl, and the girl was being really nice and polite, and she was like, hey, boundaries? I was like, boundaries? Nice, warrior stuff. And she was like, we can't be friends anymore. And she was like, oh, okay. And then they split. And then the other bunch of girls that don't really like this girl, but they haven't got the ability to separate and cut, they actually went to my daughter and said, hey, is there any chance you could do that for me too? And she was like, no, you got to do it yourself. And these girls that came to her to kind of follow her lead or offload that warrior thing to her. She, 2 months ago, seen those girls as the warriors. And now she's gone through the process of getting comfortable with the punching and the kicking and being in that warrior environment and bringing that online. She's realising that hard conversations on the pyramid of conflict
are easy.
It's so much easier than a fight. And she was like, I get it now, Dad. And I was in the car and I was just glowing. I was like, yes. She was like, I understand what you've been trying to show me now. I get it. And she's just loving it now. We're going in. She's doing the session. She was like, the after session we did was fantastic today, Dad. It was great. I was like, oh, what part of it? She was like, all of it. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, last month, you didn't want to be here. So it's just crazy, like that discomfort and getting in there and doing the repetitions.
Doing the work, like the thought of doing the work is often the hardest thing. Yeah. The first time you go in to do it, because it was funny, I was your battle buddy for the first beating down, wasn't I?
Oh, yeah.
And he came along and he did a few push-ups and I was like, oh, they're decent. I saw you do 2 things, I think. And I said to you, I bet you used to fight. And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it shows straight away. And I was like, you've got very good technique with stuff. There was some sort of kick we did and some sort of push-up thing. I was like, yeah, okay, he's got good techers. And then we did 11s, which was basically a cardio and a fitnessy thing all in one. And I think you just crumbled almost instantly, didn't you?
I was back marker by a fair bit.
Painful, man. It's like, if you've never done anything and then you go to doing some exercisey stuff, it just sucks. It sucks. There's no 2 ways about it.
You just got to keep on.
Living the way you are continuing to do that sucks way worse. Yeah. You're making the pain slightly less in the here and the now, but you're drawing it out for just forever.
You suffer now so you can be at ease tomorrow. Yeah. Or you can lay back and then the suffering's going to come and find you anyway. So do you want to suffer through the workout or do you want to suffer being unable to do the thing?
Gains, or do you want to suffer without gains?
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
So you suffer through the workout and you gain some friends, you gain some perspective, you gain all sorts of various different things that might not be anything to do with fitness. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, you might gain some cardio, some muscle, you might lose some weight, you might this and this. But, you know, there's going to be, like, basically I was thinking about this actually earlier on. In life, you're going to get shit on you. And, like, I mean actual physical shit sometimes. You know, if like you walk a dog, you're going to walk places where other people walk dogs, you're going to get shit on your shoe. You know, and if you're walking barefoot, you're going to get on your foot. Like, in life, you've got to choose what shit you're willing to put up with, but there's always going to be shit. Yeah. And so, it's hard work having a missus, but it's hard work not having a missus. Like, I've said to you this before. Now, as you know recently, I'm only interested in a good woman. I'm only interested in a healthy relationship with a good woman. Mm-hmm. I've had everything else, but I've never had a healthy relationship with a good woman, and it's kind of the only thing left on my list, right? I've got everything else. So for me, I'm thinking, well, I don't think I can ever get a good woman because all these things going against me. However, that is not how does that help me? It doesn't. So I either go, right, I'm never going to do anything, so fuck that idea, and there's no point in doing anything ever. Or I go, well, I'm going to, make some effort and do all the things that I've got to do, and I can't remember at all where I was going.
You have a risk. I know where you was going. You have a risk the potential of suffering through heartbreak, or you guarantee the slow creeping of suffering of loneliness.
That's not where I was going.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. You brought me back around anyway. Like that, literally.
We got him.
So
we got
what I was talking about, what I was going to talk about was the exhaustion, and actually Mark Manson mentioned this in the way he sort of put it. It's about 30% CPU, brain kind of computer space, gets used up if you're single every single day looking around for her.
Wow.
Where is she? Where is she? Where, like I said the other month, I wanted to go to the police station and ask if they'd seen my wife. Like, oh, what she look like? I don't know. What's her name? I don't know. Like, well,
have you seen her?
No. I want to know if you've seen a woman like that. Because I feel like every morning I'm waking up and she's missing. She's not there. Where is she? She's gone. And I've got this urgency inside me to find her. And it's this weird thing, right? And so, it's my brain constantly is on alert, this kind of non-stop.
30% CPU, that's a lot.
Maybe even more than that, mate.
All the things that are going on in life, all the things that you've got to do in
and so if you're a single dude, and you got to bear in mind, I'm now 40, and I've also had relationships with women and this and the other. So I can only imagine what it's like if you're 20 and you've never had anyone, you've never touched a boob, you've never sniffed the neck, the nape.
Yeah.
The nape?
The navel?
Mate,
navel?
you just...
That's the navel.
The best.
Nope.
The best.
Yeah.
No, that's the navel.
I was gonna... Yeah.
The neck, I think. And, anyway.
The navel? The navel?
Like,
navel?
Skin on skin cuddles, that to me, like cuddles, mate, cuddles are the best. Like, sex is amazing, right? But cuddles are almost always great.
Yeah.
Yeah, sex can be shit, but cuddles are almost always...
You
cuddles.
can't car crash cuddles. You can't. In sex, you can drive off a motherfucking cliff.
Sex can go bad.
It can go south fast.
I almost snapped my dick once. Like, no one talks about how it can go, ow. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was like, ah, and I was like, ah. But cuddles, man.
Yeah, I've been there.
So what I'm saying is that at least I can kind of, I've loved and lost. At least I can look back with fun memories, and at least I can go, wasn't that fun when? But if you're 20 and you've never ever, and all you see everywhere is just half naked girls now.
They're everywhere,
mate. How people
everywhere
aren't
now.
just jumping on everyone left, right, and centre kind of amazes me.
The desperation must be just so overwhelming.
And as I say, for me, I feel that kind of like, but I'm able to handle it. Whereas, I mean, how guys are, I don't know how they're sedating themselves out of reality,
mate.
But it is.
I think that's why porn's so popular. It's just the truth.
Yeah, man.
Like the only
porn video games, man.
Yeah. Video games will do the job somewhat, but when you want that connection to the feminine, or to even see the connection with the feminine, it's hard to substitute the real thing. But that's the closest thing you're gonna get. Do you know what I mean? And I think that kind of pseudo relationship, I think that's why OnlyFans is so popular. When you think about it, like, you can see bodies are nice.
Well, they call
but
it
the relationship,
a parasocial relationship, I think it's called.
Parasocial?
I believe it's called a parasocial. So basically, there are people who watch. So I mean, mate, we all do it. So there's this guy. He's a woodworker. And his Blacktail studio, he's a good worker, but he's a funny guy. He's got a good sense of humour, the way he edits his stuff. And so he doesn't know me at all, right? But I feel like I know him a bit.
But I know him. I know what you...
So, like, in terms of, some people would think Coronation Street's real. Some people think that these TV stars and this is that they're real. And so, if you're following someone on Instagram or on whatever, like, and you kind of you consume all their content, and you get a kind of a portal into their life, that you get to observe things that you wouldn't otherwise, unless you're intimate with someone.
Yeah.
So you get a kind of an unearned intimacy. People are letting people in, and then you kind of build a relationship, but it's purely one-sided.
Yeah.
Purely one-sided.
They're your friend, but they have no clue
idea
who the fuck you are.
Yeah. And you've got little inside jokes because, like, they've said a thing which you also think.
Yeah.
But they don't fucking, like, they've not been there for any of the time, and sometimes
you'll have vocab trickling as well,
and you'll respond to them as if they're in the room, but
Yeah.
You know, so I believe that kind of ticks boxes for people.
It definitely does, because it's still, from your end, it still holds an emotional connection. Like earlier I was laughing, I think something happened and I said good googly moogly. That's from Joey Diaz. That's Joey Diaz's word for oh my fucking god. Do you know what I mean? That's his word. I loved it so much, I was giggling my head off. I was like, that's amazing. I'm stealing that. I was like, I'm stealing that. He was like, good googly moogly. And it's like, that's brilliant. I'm taking it. He has no idea who the fuck I am, but I get so much joy.
Yeah.
Like, it was, so when I express that in some certain types of way, I've even picked up certain aspects of his language. Do you know what I mean? There's that connection. I think that's what does make it so powerful, because if it's real on your side and it makes you feel a certain way, then some better than not having anything.
Yeah,
this
can
is the issue,
make
I
the
think,
cut, with the AI
man.
thing. It's not gonna be anything like a proper interaction. But if you've never had a proper interaction,
Goddamn, it's gonna feel good
enough, because it's way better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and the old saying, when you said about advice, one of the things that popped to mind is half of something is better than all of fuck all. And it's true. And so if you've got no relationship, then having some kind of robotic relationship with some kind of something.
Awesome.
I mean, awesome. Sure.
Compared to having absolutely fuck all.
And this is it. And you
switch
don't
into
need
Barney mode,
any
you fucking bitch.
competence whatsoever for that. You know, you need next to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure, mate. I'm sure it won't be long before the NHS and some sort of charities are giving out sex bots as a companion bot.
I could see
you know, and mate, you know, this is the way I see things going.
And that's another form of that suffering. Pick your suffering. It soothes you right now. It soothes you, but that will warp the way you see relationships.
What is it? Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. That's what it is. I'll say it again. Hard choices, easy life. As in, you make hard choices, do the hard thing, do the tough thing. Have the hard conversation. You have an easier life.
Yeah.
Because if you make the easy choice, just do the easy thing now.
Yeah.
You know, postpone till tomorrow.
Actually, you used to have a screensaver, work hard, live easy. It's the same, exactly the same thing. Yeah. Size
Train hard, fight easy. All of these. Guys, it's, you know, it's all been said a million different ways.
Yeah, it wasn't processing in my head. I get you though.
But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, like going back to the whole 30% CPU thing, so much more of my brain is just wasting energy unnecessarily. Yeah. You know, and I just think so much. I could be so much better at things. I could do so much more and have so much more focus in other areas. So, and I also know a good woman will make me even better.
So here's a good question. I think it's a good question anyway. I don't know if you think it's a good question, guys. 30% of your CPU is using possibly more, subconsciously or consciously looking for a lady. Mm-hmm. Once you get that lady,
good one, not just any old
a good one.
Good one is the thing.
No,
some trap
no
razzmatazz. Around the corner, yeah, not a problem. But
so once you get her, that they've located for you at the police station, how much of your CPU is now spent maintaining that relationship? That's
potentially the same. However, I have also got her CPU working for me too, because it's working for us. And her, if she knows that supporting me to get more out of me is the best way to kind of help her as well, then we're working together for a goal, you know, life, let's say.
So now
together.
You've got two CPUs.
And there's so much more. So for example, right now I use medication for my pain. Yeah. I might not need to use medication for my pain if I've got a good woman who can help me. Yeah. Yeah. So I might not have the side effects of the medication. So while I might have the side effects of her, let's say, the chaos that she brings to the table.
My back!
Do you know what I'm saying? So the idea being that, yes, obviously there are no solutions, only trade-offs. I think the overall net would be a positive.
It'd be a worthy trade-off.
It'd be better. It would, but at the same time, if I choose poorly, then it's only going to make things worse. Yeah. So that for me, this is why I guess I'm really hesitant to kind of do anything or really kind of entertain anyone, you know, in a sense. Yeah. Because I straight away, like you said, my magician goes this, nope. You know, and just shuts it down.
Straight to the shit.
And I'm not convinced I would be able to recognise like a good, healthy woman if I saw her.
That's a really huge, insightful thing to say, an honest thing to say, because a lot of people would say, As soon as I see her, I know.
Yeah,
she's the one, and I'm fucking.
I mean, maybe I would, but I'm not convinced I would. And I'm not convinced I would actually have the skills to get someone such as that attracted
who you see as
to
well.
me.
Yeah, okay.
So, for example, I'm the kind of guy that women want to cheat on their husbands with because I'm fun and I'm exciting. You know, I've got the six pack, I've got the chat, I can ride a motorbike, I can sing you a song, I can, I can do all the fun shit that, sweep you off your feet, make you feel loved. I can do all that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure I can do the long-term thing, and I've never managed to hold down a job because of my health, so all of those kind of things, all the standard things, let's say. So I think a good woman would avoid me like the plague. So
they want to rent, but they don't want the mortgage.
Yeah. Or you just get the women who just want a fun time kind of thing.
That's the rent.
They'll have a fun time with anyone.
Mm. Oh yeah.
But yeah, or as I say, I'll get the kind of woman who's been a good woman in a marriage. She's been the good woman for a long, long time, but then she sees someone like me. And
that's the escape from...
And then, she wants to kind of be a little bit bad.
Yeah.
But I would never get her for the marriage bit. I'd get her for let's have a bit of fun. Or to break up the marriage.
For the blowout.
So, I get that.
To break up the marriage.
Yeah, for sure, it's a thing.
I'm going to go with the kids. That's diabolical.
Every married woman out there, right, I can guarantee, not necessarily every, but probably every, has got a man that they know of or have seen that they seen around that they'd go, him. I think if I was going to cheat, him.
I think everybody's kind of got a fantasy person. I think to say I'm only attracted to one human being and the other 3.5 billion are all obsolete.
Oh no,
it's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
but
I definitely think
having an actual backup, an actual kind of, yeah. I think a lot of people do.
That's crazy. I haven't got a backup. So
no, but again, I think a lot of women do. I don't think a lot of men
hypergamy
do.
vibes.
I think a lot of women do. I think a lot of women have a lot more guys hanging in their kind of
peripheries
and in their...
I'm going to be going around Q&A and women now.
No, but I think it's way more common, and I used to do this when I was younger, but it's way more common, I think, for girls, women, ladies, whatever you want to call them, to have a bunch of guys in their orbits, like in the friend zone kind of thing, who... they can kind of, call on for different bits and who, might, but they can go, I kind of like that one, but let's put them in friends because I'm in a relationship. But then as soon as anything's a bit more, I'm going to, and I think there's a lot of girls out there. Also, they're just for the attention, just for the...
I'm interested to know, is this what you think about all women, or is this based off of the types of women that you've been around?
Most women. Not just that, I just think in general, from... interacting, chatting, I think...
Candid conversation.
Yeah, I think, very few nowadays are... I'd use the word pure in that kind of way. Do you know what I mean? Like virtuous in that kind of sense. And they're generally going to be religious ones. Like, I don't know any because I don't know any people nowadays, really.
I was just about to say, like, your situation might be out of the norm, but my situation's also out of the norm. Because I've been in the same relationship with the same person
I would say
my whole life.
Norm.
Would you say that is the norm? I would
more the norm.
I would like it to be the norm. I don't feel like it's the norm anymore. None of my friends have been in. None of my friends have been in relationships since teenage years. None of my friends are in relationship with their high school sweetheart.
When I think, maybe not the high school sweetheart thing. I mean, I know a few, but most of the people I know are in long-term relationships and have kids.
Yeah,
that to me is the norm, I would say.
Oh, that's good. That warms my heart.
But for me, I'm the odd one out of the people we know. That's the tricky thing for me. I don't know any single people. I don't go anywhere and do single people things. Yeah. So it's funny. I was watching a thing the other day, and someone was saying, "Oh, just go out about in the world, and that's how you meet people."
Where?
No, you fucking don't. I go out and about. I don't meet anyone ever. I talk to people, but I don't meet people.
I think it's very hard as an adult. I think it's very hard as an adult. Like you say, everyone's got motives, everyone's weighing each other up, and everyone's got agendas, and everyone's either locked inside or doing this thing. Everyone's with their other mates. It's not like when you go to a playground with a bunch of kids and you meet at the side and you go,
"Hey, playground with a bunch of kids."
Come here.
I think I'd get looked at weirdly if I did.
But like, let's say you're 9 years old and you see a kid at the playground, you go, "Oh, you're right. What's your name?" "Oh, my name's Tim." "Oh, my name's Tosh."
"Oh, yeah,
how you doing?
Do you want to play?"
"Oh, yeah. You want to play football?" Like that doesn't happen as an adult. Everyone thinks that you're like predatory. You've got an agenda, or like, what's going on with this guy? Why is he so friendly? It's like, hey, I'm looking to meet people.
Yeah, that is true. As an adult, you must have an agenda if you're going up to talk to someone.
There's a big barrier there that people just get sus about. It's like when we was talking about talking to kids. Like people just like, hey, move away from my child.
Yeah, it is a shame that again that community idea has been destroyed. Because again, I don't like. I've talked to you guys, and I've said like, do you know anyone? Does your missus know? Because that was the other thing.
Yeah.
Like friendship circles. I'm like, okay, well I know a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And they're all married, you know, all got partners. So I'll ask all of them. And how about their missuses? They know people, so they and nope, and no. It's like, okay, so either everyone's lying to me, like they think there are all these people, but they won't like you or you won't like them, or there genuinely is no one.
Yeah.
And this is what, and I'm not going to go on the apps and all that kind of shit. And so this is the issue that I find, I think, in life.
We did have that conversation, didn't we?
What about apps and stuff?
No, not apps. About where to go to find a
Well, this is it, and I'm saying like, so I've got, as I say, competent. I'm competent enough to go and talk to anyone really in any situation. I just don't meet people.
Yeah.
And so you can have the ability to hold a room, to speak, to do the things that we're saying.
What does that matter if you haven't got?
You know, and this is it. And granted, I don't go out the house. You know, I don't go to the clubs and shit like that. It's never been my thing. But it does seem, you know, and you can't meet people at work anymore. Not that I go to work, and not that I would have done, but apparently that's frowned upon. You know, HR and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is almost impossible, really. You have to be, I guess, as a guy, you have to be competent, and this is what I'm doing now with the piano and the drums and shit. Competent, and you need to put yourself out there in the world somehow. Really so that's why, as much as I despise the online space, and I have no interest in being an online person whatsoever, fucking ever.
Yeah.
The only way for me to get out of this house. The only way for me to do that and to be seen is to get online. I can't even play gigs because they don't let you play gigs. Well, there's nowhere to really do gigs, but even then, if a venue is a venue that's half decent, that you need an online following to be an inline, be an in-person thing.
I was talking to my mate Sam about this. Like, you could have the content of the product if you don't have that following that precedes you. People don't take you seriously. And when I had this with the Wax and Relax thing, like people getting the first 1,000 followers, Lois did it. Fair play. Lois did it. Took ages. Yeah. Once we hit the 1,000,
initial inertia. It was the same as like getting fit. Yeah. If you're a Dumbo, you need to start reading. Yeah. If you're fatto, you need to get fit. You know, whatever it is, to start the thing, to start that journey, or even maybe to pick it back up, or maybe to continue it. Mate, that initial inertia is so fucking hard. Momentum is a real big thing. Momentum is why the rich get richer. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. So you know, building up a competence in some area is just one part of it. Yeah. And then you've got to learn to market yourself. I fucking hate marketing myself in that kind of way. So now I've got to put things out there in the world and kind of go, look at me.
I'm so fantastic.
But without trying to go, look at me. Because you kind of got to be like, but I'm like way too cool for this shit. So like, don't really look at me. I'm just kind of like throwing it out there like super chill guys. You know, it's how the fuck do you do that?
It almost feels like manipulation. Really marketing like is like when you see like advertising firms and talking about how they did stuff,
angles and shit.
Crazy.
Well, it takes me back to the whole pickup artistry kind of stuff. But it's. So it's a strategy, basically. It's a strategy of, okay, I'm going to put on this shirt, these shoes, do my hair in this way, this aftershave, and I'm going to go out to this club, this bar, with these guys. This is our strategy. Like, it's... So you've got to find... So the strategy now for me is, okay, to be seen. Show me doing the competent shit.
Yeah.
What am I the best at? Well, fucking singing, playing the piano, playing the drums, doing that kind of stuff and chatting. Cool. So put that out there into the world and kind of go fishing.
I was literally thinking about fishing.
Go fishing. Just chum the waters and see what's out there, see what comes around. And you know, I guess the better job I do of that, the more stuff comes swimming around. And then I get to see if there's anything decent.
And I think putting yourself in the right places is a good idea. Putting yourself into environments with a higher percentage of women is definitely probably not a good idea to go Thai boxing looking for a missus. Like you want to go to places like, hey dude, I reckon we should get him a ball of wool and a couple of things. Just take you straight to knitting class.
This is
or
the
Pilates.
Thing,
or we could take you to Pilates.
This is the thing, right? So it's kind of do you go where women are at?
Yeah.
Or do you do things that you're interested in?
Oh, because that plays into the same thing. Like, you sacrificing who you are to get into a position.
I could go to Pilates, but if I was going to go to Pilates, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go during the day because I don't like doing things where it's well busy.
Yeah.
Right. And I also don't like going to places where it's well busy because more people coughing and sneezing, like all that kind of stuff, I'm more likely to get ill. So I'm going to go during the day. Well, who's at Pilates during the fucking day? Load of old women. So I'm still not going to, I don't go to the places. So not only have you got to go to the places, you've got to go to the places at the times.
Yeah.
But when you go to the places at the times, do you know what else you're going to have? Competition.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if there's you there looking for women, well, guess who else has sussed it out? A load of other guys. Because literally all guys do is sit at home thinking, how can I get laid?
Yeah, it's really... You're right.
Literally everything men have ever done is to put their penis in things. It's just how the human race is wired.
Yeah,
mate.
How can I? And it's just who we are biologically. It's how we are biologically. We just got to accept it. That's what it is, man. Like, it's kind of weird because when you do, like we were saying, I'll put yourself in a place with a higher percentage of women. I'll just go to Pilates, and then it clicks. Like, is this manipulative? I'm putting myself in a position I wouldn't already put myself in.
Want to do. You're not actually going to want to do the thing. You're going to want to try and talk to the women. But if the women there to actually do Pilates,
and you come over and start talking to them,
then they're going to be like, "Look, man, fuck off. I'm trying to do Pilates.
You be the creep. I'm going to call the police."
And this is the thing. So nowadays, it is so very, very difficult. So you can have all the right attributes, and you can know what to look for. That's still only part of the battle, man.
It is, because you've got to go out and you've got to connect with people.
So she could have done the work, you could have done the work, but the chance of you actually finding one another... Like, let's talk about doing volunteer stuff. I've done plenty of volunteer stuff. Do you know what you are as a volunteer? A fucking volunteer! Someone with no status. As a volunteer, it's like, you've got nothing better to do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
You could be giving,
you're not important.
Giving to the community.
That's why you're volunteering.
Giving to the community, man.
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at that.
Yeah, but at the same time... It's, well, why aren't you doing something more important with your time? Why aren't you, you're just volunteering, handing out cookies or whatever. So all I'm saying is, like, don't get me wrong.
Volunteers.
Yeah, that's my cousin's old band. Don't get me wrong. It might be a place to meet people, but unless you're somehow like high status in that volunteering role, that could actually work against you.
That's really interesting. Like, and I do want to hear what you guys have got to think, what you guys think about it, man. Like, drop it in the comments below.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Because our conversation, it's just the two of us, and we have different perspectives. But it's nice to hear other people's perspectives because we're like, I'm listening. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, is that far fetched? And then it's yeah. So I just want to hear.
Do you know what's nuts? So years ago, this is going back 8 years ago. So I'd say my ex, right? My ex, this German girl Z, and I use her name because it's not her actual name. It's a nickname that a name began with an S, but it sounds like a Z in German. So anyway, it's called Z. And where was we going before this? What was we just saying?
We was talking about
3 times today, man. My brain is gone.
We was talking about different perspectives regarding what a good partner is.
No, it's literally just before that.
Oh shit!
Come on, man, we can do this.
We've brain farted, haven't we?
No,
it's the heat today. It's the heat today.
It's warm. It is. I can see you starting to beat up.
I got a couple bullets.
No, it's about our perspectives, and it was something about going back 8 years. Got it. Right,
he's back.
So when I first met her, we were staying at a hostel in Tenerife, right? And I was there, and I'd met my cousin and a couple of friends, and I clocked her. I thought she's cool. I like her. Straight away, stood out to me, and I was like, right, I'm gonna kind of make a plan, like this little strategy, like how am I gonna. So anyway, one of these lads, he was younger. He's like 11 years younger than me, and he was still in college. And he was in music college and doing all creative things with all creative people. So there's never a problem meeting people when you're in college, especially when you're creative college with creative people, right?
Open.
My cousin, however, had finished college by this point, and while he had also gone to creative musical college, he knew what the real world was like. And obviously me, way out of college and like living in the real world. And so the younger one went, oh man, I think you're overthinking this. I think, just as... And my cousin went, no, you just don't know what it's actually fucking like. And I'm so glad that he said it rather than me saying it.
Yeah.
Because coming from me, it would make me look like I'm desperate or I don't know what I'm doing. And he just went, no, man, when you're in college like you are right now, mate, you don't, like, literally look left, you look right, there's women everywhere. It's like when you actually get out in the real world and you are kind of a standalone bull, if you like, and you have to kind of go into places and say, hey guys, look, I'm not a scary rapist or anything, I'm not a murderer, and I kind of call guy, in fact, you want to kind of hang around with me because I've got things that I can share with you and I can show you fun times and take you places you've never seen, and so don't worry, I've got your back, I'm kind of cool, I'm safe, you can come in the car with me and this, I'm not going to crash it, like
you can sit in the passenger. I won't put you
when you go, yo. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you kind of convey all of that with just that opening, that hey. And in fact, I probably would never go, yo. But, whatever it is. And so it is that, like, the naive will think, oh, it just happens. It doesn't just fucking happen. You've got no idea how much work goes into it just happens.
I think with getting older, most definitely that is the case, because it's just like meeting people in general, never mind a partner, meeting new people is hard. Like, making new friends.
You were there Monday at Illumination, where those guys are watching us do the workout who are really, really interested.
They're so interested.
They're like magnet drawn to
ready.
us. But at the same time, all the insecurities are like a barrier between them and literally going over there and doing some push-ups and doing some sit-ups.
We actually had conversations with two separate guys that were like just there. They're right there, and stepping over that barrier is hard, and that's with friends, never mind partners. So,
and there's no sex involved. Like, that's, you know what I mean? When there's sex
involved, sleep with the lads.
The highest stakes available.
Yeah.
And like, I think, I'm not sure he said it on here, but again, that Dr. Ryan Teraband thing, you can't forget the doctor bit at the front. You have to say Dr. Ryan. You have to say his whole name. You can't just say Ryan. No, it's not Dr.
You know, our boy Ryan, Roy, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's not right. So yeah. He said basically it is, if you get rejected by a woman, so even if it's a nice rejection, it is basically like saying, no, that's the end of you. No, I'm not mating with you. No one should mate with you. That's the end of your lineage. You know, your DNA should die with you.
Your bloodline ends here.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it feels like on that.
Feels like you get
fuck.
dying.
It's not like an actual kick in the nuts, but it's a metaphorical kick in the buttocks. Like, you're not going to get to reproduce.
Yeah.
And so, as I say, that's even if it's a polite rejection. If you've got a horrible rejection, you've got humiliation, actually being humiliated on top of feeling.
I couldn't even imagine it.
So it's no wonder. And there's more and more men now getting divorces, coming out of relationships in their 40s, 50s, going, fucking hell, what a mess. Like, I don't, this is a joke. And so you've got guys struggling to even join in the workout when, as I say, there's no sex on the line, there's no lineage or DNA's passing. How much more difficult is it? And it's one thing being a guy who's, as I say, had relationships, had women before, but if you've never ever had, like, the stakes are almost life and death.
It's too much to comprehend.
It's so much pressure.
Yeah, the wall is so high. You know what I mean? And no one's really giving good steps. There's not too much out there. I think because it's a topic that's surrounded by so much insecurity and the fear of rejection and first I've got to be not humble. I've got to basically put all my insecurities out there to potentially be chopped to pieces, especially as a young man. You know what young guys are like. They'll freaking savage you. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you know what I mean? They'll blow you to pieces if you put it out there. Like, it just makes it seem like an unattainable goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, just this thing, this pie in the sky.
Yeah, if you can't do a push-up and you see someone crank out 100, you'd be like, oh, fuck, this place ain't for me. Yeah. But I think that's the issue. And that is because we've had no step by step.
Yeah.
We've had no initiation. We've had no, it's okay, you've got 20 more of these to prove yourself. We've had no build yourself up.
Do you remember that time when you did this?
Yeah.
Do you remember back at the initiation when you felt like giving up and you thought you was going to die? And now look at you. Well, now you've done that. All of these things, you can apply that mental fortitude to get over the threshold. You could apply that to everything. But we don't have that. If we had,
that's what we're building.
That's what
we're building this audience. So if you like the things you said today and you want to find out more about the lover, the king, the warrior, the magician, like, subscribe, leave comments as well, because like you said, we want to know A, what other people think, but B,
more than two perspectives.
Kind of like, you might ask questions. Oh, that's a really good question. Let's discuss that. If you've got any things we haven't thought about.
Yeah. Any questions? Pop them underneath. Pop them below. And we'll make it
thumbnail thing as well now. So
we've got the thumbnails on. We're good to go.
So this is it, and we might have missed some things, and we'll watch this back. And go, oh yeah, so that's for next week.
Yeah. We'll start.
Sweet man, right? We're gonna go and get some fresh air. Laters.
Bizzle.